If you've ever really needed a full night of sleep and then got it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Tuesday, August 19th edition. We're going to talk about Palo Alto's earnings that happened yesterday. We're going to take a look at the market. We're going to break down some of the news here for you. It's a T3 Tuesday. Ondas got another upgrade, this time from Needham. A lot of good stuff out there. We're going to cover it all. We're going to get ready for another fun day here in the market. Hopefully, the market is busier than it was yesterday. Very, very range-bound. But let's just go ahead and start the show. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Tuesday, August 19th, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful Monday evening. Hopefully the rest of Monday was good for you. It was kind of slow. Maybe we're going to get some more slowness today. We'll check it out. But it's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. And if you watched the football game last night, hopefully you enjoyed that as well. I'm just so glad football's back, in case you couldn't tell. Good morning, Brent. Brent is first today. Let's go. Good morning, Tom. Good morning. It's good to see you again. Sun-Kissed Yogi. Good morning. Welcome back. Kayla. Good morning. Crispy. I like how you change your name, Crimp, to Crispy. Crispy Biscuit. We'll take that. Good morning. Zach McCracken. Good morning. Paul. Great to see you again, my man. Good morning. Francis. Good morning. Jane's locked in. Welcome back, Jane. Knights Lance. Good morning. Welcome back. Candace, good morning. It's good to see you again. Day Trader, it's good as always. Thank you for sending that over. Day Trader, I'll be honest, man. I did get your message yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch and read this, and I'm gonna go through this," and I just did not have the energy. So I still have that on the docket for today, but I appreciate that I asked you for that, and you delivered as you normally do. Much appreciated. Empyrean, good morning. Welcome back, Jim. It's good to see you again. Welcome back. Glass half full. Woke up on time, Pacific time here. Boy, you the real one, right? You Pacific people that are up early every day here on the show. That's what I like to see. I visit Arizona pretty frequently. One of my buddies out there has been trading for like 40 years. And even in Arizona, waking up for the market, it's like really, really early. Pacific's even earlier. That's some good effort. I appreciate that. Chuck, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Durkis, it's great to see you again. Sassy Butterfly Chick, happy Tuesday, y'all. Indeed. Good morning and good day. It's good to see you again as well. Graf, good morning. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Marty, good morning. Yes, Intel, we're definitely going to talk about that. Tell you what, that $19 level on Intel, how great has that been for like a year for trades? I know Intel doesn't necessarily like double off that 19, but it holds that as support and moves quite a bit. We're absolutely going to take a look at that here. Marty, I hope you're making money on that. Latest, is that Latest Tech? Yes. Good morning, Latest. Big Dave, good morning. Crystal, good morning. Pacific time. We got multiple Pacific people out here. Day Trader, I think you're Pacific too. Got a lot of those folks. Okay. Am I the only one that refreshes constantly at 8 and still misses the first 15 to 30 seconds? You guys miss my opener every morning? Say it ain't so. When I go back and check the replays, they're always fine. I'm sorry about that, Day Trader. I don't know what the solution is to that. Knights Lance, I did get some rest. Thank you. Laura, good morning. Corey, good morning. Producers locked in. Jay Grant, good morning. Terlingua, good morning. Good morning. Everyone missed you, Ryan. Kevin did a great job, but starting my day with you just puts a smile on my face. Well, I'll take that. I will take that. I'll take nice comments any day you want to give them to me, Terlingua. So welcome back. It's good to see you again as well. And I'll be honest, from where I sit, I've become used to this. I am used to starting my day running through what's going on, talking with other people about what's going on. It's great. There's a benefit here for me too. And even on this last trip, I missed you folks. Paulo, good morning. Gary, good morning. Zoo, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Let's hit Pan W. We're definitely going to talk about that. Big Bear Hug, we will talk about VKTX as well. Robert, good morning. Chris, good morning. Brandy, good morning. ATL Russ, Linda, and Wiss, good morning. Neville, Uncle Dirt, good morning. JJ, good morning. And that's okay. And then glass half full, Zach. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and get started here. Bring on the SPY chart. We'll start with this. So again, as mentioned right at the top of the show, yesterday was pretty boring. Not like right in the morning. I mean, obviously we made fun out of it, or we made a fun day out of the day, and we started off well in the morning. I just mean like market action. There really wasn't a whole lot. Very, very range bound. It actually felt like an inside day, although technically it wasn't actually an inside day. If we look inside here, you can see that the SPY actually did print lows lower than Friday's intraday lows. So it technically wasn't an inside day. But again, if we take a look at this, I mean, boy, oh boy, from the market here, the dead low was 642 and change, and the high here was just shy of 644. We are in less than a 2-point range, and the SPY is $600. I mean, it just, there wasn't a whole lot going on. It actually felt to me like the market was kind of, it was like eerily quiet almost. Let me know if any of you had the same feeling, excuse me, but it almost felt eerily quiet, like the market was waiting for something. Now, obviously, we had the European leaders, Trump and Zelensky, talking about the ending the war in Ukraine. That really, from what I can follow here, it took all day. The deal's not done yet, although there seems to be some optimism for that. I think the market might kind of be waiting that out. And then I think that the other thing that the market is waiting for is Friday. Friday is going to be our biggest day here today, or excuse me, this week, with Powell delivering his remarks from Jackson Hole. So I'm hoping that we get some like contained action. We probably will in some of the movers. We seem to see that on a regular basis here. But as far as the regular market goes, or the broader market goes here, really, really kind of slow. And we'll see if anything changes that here today. We did talk a little bit about PanW earnings. We're going to cover that more here in depth. I don't know that that's going to move the entire market, to be quite honest with you. So I think we might still kind of be in this waiting game. Looking at the pre-market here today, the intraday low from yesterday still being held here. And we really didn't even make any upside move yet. So again, low volume yesterday, not a whole lot going on out there today. We'll see if that picks up, but that's kind of where we're at the SPY. The good news here, well, there's two pieces of good news. Number one, August and the choppiness that we had kind of talked about from seasonality, that is clearly the case. Now, I understand that we've kind of drifted upward, but take a look at this SPY daily chart. It is a red candle, red, green, red, green, red, green. We are just chopping back and forth. So it makes trading, or swing trading, I should say, maybe a little bit more difficult unless you hook an actual like individual name. We'll see if that picks up here, and we'll see if it maybe gives us some signs that September is going to be weak, because I'm still on that. September, traditionally the weakest month that we have. Seasonality has really been holding up here in August, and I wouldn't be shocked if we get some type of drawdown or pullback in September. Traditionally, these bottom in October. I know that we're going to have some potential good headlines out there, so we'll see how this all shakes out. But so far, going according to plan, and August seems rather uneventful. Maybe I'll be made to look like a fool saying that ahead of Jackson Hole here on Friday, but nonetheless, that's kind of where we're at here today. Let's take a quick look at the morning update. Not really a whole lot to go through on this. As far as economic events, really the housing starts and the building permits is all we've got. You can see it. Take a quick look at the market here. We're basically unchanged. The SPY's down here. S&P futures down by 1/10. NASDAQ futures down by 0.2, and the Dow futures positive by 0.1. So it's a fairly mixed pre-market here, not a whole lot in either direction. Bitcoin also, this is down by just under 1% here. I have the Bitcoin futures at 115,735. So Bitcoin pulled off its all-time high, but really hasn't shown that it's going to break down at all. As far as other stuff going on here today, we do have an IPO. This is YMT. This is Yimutian or Yimutian. It priced between 4.10 and 5. I'm going to avoid this one. I don't know anything about the company. If you guys have something on this, let the group know. But that's the only IPO that we're expecting here today. We do have two events here. Rosenblatt's 5th annual technology summit, The Age of AI. It's got Applied Optoelectronics listed there. That's ticker AAOI. Unsure, though, if this is actually going to move more than just this stock. Maybe keep your eye on that here today. I don't know. And then annual meeting of shareholders here for MCHP. This is Microchip Technology. I think several of you have actually traded this recently. I don't know necessarily what to expect out of that probably going to be a nothing burger if I had to guess right off the top here. As far as initiations, there were a couple here today. One that's not on here, though, is the one that I think is the biggest, at least for our group here, and that's Ondas. And actually, we'll go back to that real fast here. Let me go back to my chart tool. Let's take a look at the ONDS chart. Then we'll dive into some of the news here. I'll be honest with you, this chart's starting to look real good. This actually looks like a bull flag is forming up here. Would not really be shocked if we made a run towards 450. We did have some new news here today that Needham is actually initiating coverage on Ondas Holdings and announcing a price target of 5. I still have an order to trim some of my position here if and when we get to 5. I don't think we're going to do that necessarily today, but it's great to see another initiation. It's great to see more coverage. It really looks like the plan is coming together here. And I will say, although it's several years later than I had hoped, better late than never. And frankly, this gave us an opportunity, not only myself, but a number of other folks to really kind of load this stock under $1 when the story was still intact. So great to see some coverage from Needham. I'm thrilled that it's something like Needham as opposed to Wainwright or some other firm that we've never heard of before. So that should be positive. That's probably the best upgrade here today. You know what I did forget off of the morning report were some of the earnings here. So we did have Home Depot this morning. We can take a look at that. Home Depot's down barely unchanged. This is actually up off the lows from earlier here today. We had Medtronic report earnings. They're down by 2%. That really wasn't a whole lot of anything. Viking Holdings is about flat. So we did have some other earnings here. After the market closes, we have Toll Brothers. This is probably the biggest one that I'm waiting for here today. Remember, Toll Brothers is a home builder for more of the luxury end, and I'm curious to see if they're still bullish on everything that's going on. And then we also had, I guess, Newsmax. I'm not sure what the earnings should be here for Newsmax, but they apparently report after the close here today as well. Okay, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Welcome back. Abby, welcome back. Bread and Butter, or Bread Butter, welcome back. Shanier, good morning. Kel, good morning. Vaughn, good morning. Colossal, good morning. Neville, good morning. You wanted to take a look at Oscar. Let me add that to the list. I know some of those healthcare stocks more in play now after the whole UNH thing. So we can go ahead and take a look at that. Now, let's dive into some of the news here. I'll make it quick before we get to our T3 guest here today. President Trump expressed readiness to host a trilateral meeting, otherwise known as a trilat, with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky to end the 3-year-long war in Ukraine. I think we would all be happy if that ends up happening. The 10-year Treasury yielded 4.33, still under the 4.5 threshold, and the 2-year bond 3.76. I'll be honest, there's a little jostling around this area, maybe a back and forth. Maybe one morning it ticks up a little bit, the next morning it ticks down, but we've really kind of held this area. Haven't moved these Treasury yields lower at all, but we're really not moving to the upside either. So we'll see what the next move actually is here. Let's take a look at some insights here. LPL Financial, Jeffrey Bookbinder, the chief equity strategist, highlights that corporate America has demonstrated remarkable resilience despite trade uncertainty and rising cost pressures. I would agree with that. The performance marks a significant shift from the first quarter, which was more muddled by tariff uncertainty. LPL research notes several impressive achievements for the second quarter, and they are as follows. S&P 500 earnings per share growth is on track for nearly 12%, more than double the sub 5% consensus estimate from June 30th. Revenue for the S&P 500 grew by 6.3%, which was over 2% higher than the quarter-end expectations. And a strong 81% of companies beat EPS estimates, surpassing the 5-year average of 78%. So we talked a lot about the bars being lowered, but even so, the bars have been lowered before in the past as well in some quarters, and we're still putting up a better average than we have in the past. There's only one way to take that, and that's good. The communication services, technology, and financial sectors produced the fastest earnings growth. I guess that's probably a kind of a surprise. I guess, maybe communications, not so much of a surprise, but financials, which has really lagged. Good to see that. really kind of pushing back here. Let me know if any of you have really good financial trades on, not investment, but trades. While companies so far have managed tariff effects through cost cuts, price adjustments, and AI-driven efficiencies, LPL expects more cost pressures in the coming months. In its outlook, LPL's Strategic and Tactical Asset Allocation Committee, or STAC, maintains a neutral stance on equities, citing that significant optimism is already priced into stock valuations. The committee continues to favor large cap growth stocks and prefers the communication services and financial sectors. Those are the two that are leading here. Reading through this, I think what they're saying here is kind of what we talked about last week. Maybe there's a sell the news event when we actually get that first rate cut. Maybe it is already priced in, and maybe that would be our down move in September. We'll see. Not really sure. I agree with the premise that the market is kind of priced in some of this. It does really seem like everyone's kind of expecting a rate cut, and with the market being forward looking, I'm entirely unsurprised that it's already got it priced in. We'll see how it shakes out. Now, really quickly, let's talk about Palo Alto, and what we'll do here is we'll start with the chart. This is, of course, ticker PANW. This is clearly the best in breed for cybersecurity. I know we've talked before, CrowdStrike, Panda. No, it's PanW. Plain and simple. This is best in breed. It has proven it over and over and over again. Just taking a look at the chart, you can see that the last two moves down to the 500-day moving average provided excellent trading opportunities. And today's move here, 187.05, we are basically testing the 200-day. So as far as a key level from the price here, we're up 6.18%. Options implied a 7.2% move, and we're basically right at the 200-day. I want to see if we can get above this 200-day for two reasons. Number one, this is a very clear support and resistance level that we use all of the time for trading in a bunch of different stocks. But also, we've got this 50-day bearing down on it. Now, when we talk about golden crosses and death crosses, we've especially talked with 13 about this recently, that when they oscillate back and forth, meaning when it shows a golden cross and then very quickly it shows a death cross and then maybe a golden cross again, because the indicators are oscillating, it means less. And I agree with that. And we did get a golden cross back here in the middle of June, and we didn't really go higher. We basically went to the high end of the range, but we didn't set any new highs. Now we kind of dipped back down to the 500, and now we're coming up here. I'm not sure how much this death cross would actually mean, since we've kind of been oscillating. But at the same time, if we continue to trade up, we're actually going to stop the death cross from happening. And that also, I think, would be viewed as bullish. So immediate targets here, 200-day, 187.36. Would love to see a close above that. Furthermore, I'd like to see a close above the 50-day here at 181.24. But the other thing is that if we do continue to trade up here, we actually have a gap. And if we look at the bodies of the candles, it starts at about 184 and fills at about 194. So in addition to these moving averages, we actually have a gap in there that is likely going to want to be filled. To me, or to my eye, at least where PanW sits with the binary event behind them and better than expected, to me, I think that the next move here on PanW is up. But we'll see how it shakes out. Let's dive into the report a little bit here. Palo Alto reported financial results for the fourth quarter of fiscal 2025 after the market closed on Wednesday. They posted a fourth quarter revenue of $2.54 billion, beating analyst estimates of $2.5 billion. The cybersecurity company reported fourth quarter adjusted earnings of 95 cents per share. That beat the analyst estimate of 88 cents per share, according to Pro. Total revenue was up 16% year over year, and remaining performance obligations grew 24% year over year to $15.8 billion. The company said next generation security annual recurring revenue increased 32% year over year to $5.6 billion. Palo Alto ended the quarter with approximately $2.27 billion in cash. Quote, our strong execution in Q4 reflects the fundamental market shift in which customers understand that a fragmented defense is no defense at all against modern threats. And this is one of the things that we talked about. This actually worked as kind of maybe a negative or a bleeding edge, if you will, for cybersecurity. The criminals always seem to be one step ahead, and it makes it very difficult for a company who develops some type of patch or program or platform that provides security, and then one day, overnight, it's outdated. it seems like Palo Alto is really kind of at the forefront of this. You can't just replace bits and pieces of this. You can't use legacy components because they very quickly lead to a fragmented defense. And as the CEO is saying here, that's no defense. A fragmented defense is no defense in a modern world. That came from Nikesh Ora, the chairman and CEO. Quote, they are partnering with us because platforms are designed to work in concert, creating powerful operational synergies that deliver superior near real-time outcomes and the efficiency our customers need. Palo Alto announced that founder and chief technology officer and board member Nur Zook has retired from his role from the company. Chief Product Officer Lee Klarich has been appointed to the company's board and will assume the role of the CTO. One of the things, if you have looked at PanW recently, you notice that there is a lot of insider selling. Near was one of those insiders, but he was selling tranches of like 100,000 shares at a time. It actually looked like it was a kind of a pre-planned selling. Despite there being a lot of insider selling, I mean, the stock's near 52-week highs. That would be the time to sell. Just kind of thinking about Tim Melvin and what we've learned about insider buys and sells, I'm not sure that there's a lot to take from this, in particularly from Nears. Just my own 2 cents on that, though. Palo Alto expects first quarter revenue for fiscal 26 to be in the range of 2.45 to 2.47 billion. That's versus the estimate of 2.43. So once again, the guide higher really showing us that that's what the market's looking for here. And then they expect fiscal 26 revenue of 10.4 to 10.53. That was versus the estimate of 10.43. So again, now the other part of the Palo Alto report was about tariffs. And we're going to talk about that. Cybersecurity giant Palo Alto says that tariffs are no longer a meaningful risk to its hardware business after shifting a bulk of its supply chain and production to the United States, something that some folks said was impossible and would never happen. And lo and behold, here we are. During the company's fourth quarter earnings call on Monday, CFO Deepak Golicha, I probably butchered that, I'm sorry, Deepak, highlighted that substantial advantages it now has over its competitors after relocating its manufacturing and fulfillment to Texas, a move he says provides scale while making global trade and tariff-related tensions, quote, immaterial, end quote. There you go. Galicia stressed that Palo Alto's decision to relocate production gives the company a unique position in the market. He said that the company is now the only pure play and cybersecurity firm to assemble all of its hardware in the U.S. and at scale. Something he says gives a significant edge over its peers in its segment, and I would agree with that. Not only is this already in the best in breed, but they're playing ball with the administration, moving more of their production back to the United States, making tariffs irrelevant. I think that the runway is good for this company going forward, despite the 6+% pop we're seeing here this morning. In addition to the shift in its manufacturing, the company addressed its new disciplined approach to inventory management. Galicia said that the company recently completed a, quote, comprehensive review, end quote, of its inventory, describing the move as, quote, a deliberate and prudent step to instill a conservative and disciplined view of its product life cycles, which he says is crucial as it heads into fiscal 2026. We talked about these numbers here already. It actually has a really good growth rating in Benzinga Pro, not so great on the value and momentum, but we'll see if that momentum turns around. On the surface here, although we did not actually reach the implied move from the options, still a good report nonetheless here for Palo Alto. If any of you were holding that through the print, congratulations. Hopefully you didn't just buy it right before the print, because those options might end up taking a little bit of a haircut as the premium comes in post-binary event. Okay, let's talk real quickly about Intel. I teased that a little bit earlier. Intel is back in the news here, and we're going to start with the chart because, as I mentioned at the outset here, let's actually get the day. August of 2004, this thing traded down to about 18 and change, and then really from then till now, so for the last year, in a couple of days, it has really used 19 as some significant support. There were a number of times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, like Ferris Bueller, we tested this $19 level and held it. And in some cases, we actually had pretty good moves off of this level, with the most notable one moving up here to 27. Now, today, we're actually seeing Intel trade up by another $1.23. We're up 5.2% here. Intel shares are trading higher after it was announced that SoftBank will invest $2 billion in the company. Well, this is interesting because we heard about how some of these foreign nations are going to invest in the U.S., and it looks like in this case, there's at least a $2 billion carve out here for Intel, ticker INTC. Now, Intel did surge in after-hours trading after SoftBank agreed to inject $2 billion into the chip maker, amid reports that the Trump administration is weighing a 10% stake in the company. To me, it seems like there's very clear effort to make sure that Intel stays around here as a U.S. chip producer for a long time. Now, what does that mean about the chips? Because there's a very real concern here that, well, if Intel doesn't make good chips, does Apple or Amazon or Google really want those chips? Probably not. And forcing those companies to buy subpar chips, that doesn't seem like an answer either. So I'm curious to see what the future holds here for this. So, on Monday, it was announced that SoftBank will invest $2 billion in Intel through a primary issuance of common stock. That's the other thing. They issued new stock for this. So the market, at least this morning, is telling you, yeah, you're diluting the stock, but the benefit here is outweighing that dilution concern, or at least that's what it seems like. I guess we'll see how Intel closes here today. The deal would give the Japanese investment giant just under a 2% equity stake, making it Intel's 6th largest shareholder. The move underscores SoftBank's aggressive investment streak in 2025, which also includes a $30 billion commitment to OpenAI and backing for Stargate, a $500 billion U.S. data center project. $1 billion, excuse me. Intel shares closed down 3.66% during regular trading, but then jumped 5.37% in after hours following the announcement. Earlier in the day, Bloomberg reported that the U.S. government is in talks to acquire up to a 10% stake in Intel. Boy, I tell you what, if you blink, you might miss a couple of things here. We're 2 for 2 on Ferris Bueller references this morning, which is also impressive. The speculation comes after President Trump demanded the resignation of Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan over alleged ties to Chinese firms. We've done a good job reporting on that. Markets and Mayhem did a good job reporting on that. 13 has talked about that. So a lot of stuff here. We've been covering this for a while. Trump later softened his stance after a White House meeting with Tan when he said his success and rise is an amazing story. Now, to be a fly on the wall of that meeting, I want to know what was actually discussed in there, because I'm sure they were prodding some of the national security concerns. And I think what's most interesting is what was not said or not quoted here. Tim Seymour, friend of Benzinga, I know he's on CNBC a lot. One of the better people, frankly, on CNBC. Really, really nice guy in person, too, by the way. Tim Seymour of Seymour Asset Management previously cautioned that nationalizing a company is not conventional and has historically sparked sell-offs, but acknowledged the political and strategic backdrop of such a move, especially right now. And I don't think anyone would argue with that. I think, obviously, AI is the biggest thing right now, if you will, and this move certainly looks to be a move to help corner that or win that AI race, and it looks like Tim's kind of leaning back on that, which would make sense. The developments comes as Intel grapples with mounting challenges. The company reported an $18.8 billion loss in its foundry business in 2024, despite $8.5 billion in U.S. subsidies. Fitch Ratings has downgraded Intel's credit, citing leadership instability, delays in its Ohio fab project now pushed into the 2030s, and weak profitability in its manufacturing pivot. Quote, Intel's balance sheet is not good. A stake could go a long way towards finishing what Gelsinger couldn't afford to build, but did it anyway. That comes from Kramer. Let me know what you think about that quote. Company's 18A process technology has faced yield issues, leaving Intel brand rivals such as Taiwan Semiconductor, AMD, and ARM in the race for advanced chips and AI readiness. So let me know if any of you like Intel. Were any of you trading Intel off of this $19, $20 support? You're being rewarded here today. Let me know if you're into any of that. All right, we don't have our guest yet. We're going to do one more before we get him. And we're going to start. We haven't done a Michael Saylor comment or story in a little bit here. Veteran investor Ross Gerber slammed companies like Strategy for selling stock to the public to purchase Bitcoin, warning that such an approach could, quote, nuke, end quote, the cryptocurrency. Ross is no stranger to hyperbolic language, so we shouldn't be shook by that. In a note to Benzinga shared on Friday, Gerber expressed his skepticism about companies issuing stock without a real underlying business to buy Bitcoin. Quote, the fact they can sell stock at some inflated valuation and then buy Bitcoin is crazy bad math for the investor. Again, that comes from Ross Gerber, who's the CEO of Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. Why would you buy $100 of Bitcoin for $200? Notably, Strategy stock trades at a premium to its Bitcoin holdings, currently at 1.61x, suggesting that investors are paying a multiple for exposure to Bitcoin. Remember, Saylor has said that in some cases, this is the only way that some investors can get exposure to that. That said, Strategy's Bitcoin yield, a metric that measures the percentage change in Bitcoin per share, has increased 25% year to date, meaning that each share of MSTR is equivalent to 1.25 Bitcoin. Interesting. This math only works if Bitcoin continues to rise, so place your bets there. Quote, what happens when Bitcoin goes down again? As it eventually does and corrects hard every couple of years, if they are forced to sell, then the cycle reverses and it blows up. Now, Saylor has said that this is not going to happen. He said that Bitcoin can go to, I think, 0 and they would still be fine. Doesn't sound like Gerber believes that. Or Ross Gerber believes that. He also questioned the use of debt to fund purchases, warning that such an approach could nuke Bitcoin. In its defense, Strategy said that the company's structure is smooth and can weather an 80% Bitcoin crash during a bear market. So I said it could go to 0. I misspoke. 80% correction. That came directly from Michael Saylor, citing the company's pivot to a perpetual preferred stock strategy, which has no maturity date and retains the initial capital invested and is reducing reliance on convertible debt offerings. So let me know, folks. Let me know if you guys like MSTR. I mean, I know that this is kind of a battleground stock, if you will. There's some back and forth on it, but I'd be curious as to where you folks sit on this. Let's see if we had any comments here. I wish I had 10 Intel, only gambled with 1. Okay, so you were on some of the calls there, so that should still pay here today. Day Trader said, that's my point about these crypto treasuries. A junky company before opening a treasury is still a junky company, and that does not refer to MicroStrategy. So, okay, folks, it is a T3 Tuesday, so we're going to bring on a guest for you here today. We have a new T3 trader, so let's give a warm welcome here to Charlie Moon. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Charlie, good morning. How you doing, my man?
Good morning, Ryan. How's it going?
It is going really well. Folks, learn how to use Charlie's AI system to pinpoint high profit potential trade setups, even in the most volatile markets. I can't wait to ask you about that, Charlie. AI is the rage right here, so I definitely want to hear about your system. But before we dive into that, I ask all of the T3 traders the same thing. And since this is our first time here together, we're going to start with this. Can you talk to the viewers about your morning routine and how you prepare for the market trading day?
Yeah, that's, for one, as a trader, structure is always good. So it's pretty repetitive. I wake up. First thing I do is check my phone to see what news is out. Always checking to see if there's anything, relative to, the scope of the broad market that could shift the landscape or any specific news that's pertaining to stocks. The one that's really kind of drawing my interest is Viking Therapeutics this morning.
Okay.
And, I'm always looking for an opportunity, especially on stocks that can move. And that's really kind of my basis and thesis. Focus on something that a lot of people are going to be looking at. It's going to draw a lot of volume, a lot of volatility, which always equals opportunity, short term and long term. And so for me, that's kind of how I start my day. I basically wake up, brush my teeth, go straight to the office, turn on the PC. I'm looking at my news feed. I don't really watch too much financial news, so to speak. I'm always on, news feeds. So X is one of my primary sources, which sounds funny, but I'm always on X. I'm always searching through my apps, email alerts, and then after that, once my PC's fired up, I'm looking at charts right away and looking at structure and opportunity from there. And I try not to have too biased of a game plan, whether it's going to be up or down. I just want to know where the ranges or the scope of moves can be. And so I plan around that as opposed to just going in with a biased direction, whether I want to be long or short. You never really want to fade the tape, as they say. So, you
That
know,
sounds like a really good approach, right? You're ready for whatever the market presents to you. So, just to get this straight, you have no crazy morning routine like a cold plunge or a sauna like Scott. You're just doing the regular stuff like the rest of us, brushing your teeth, getting ready for the day.
yeah, I'm in mountain time, so my day starts I guess a little earlier, which is
Yes, it
later
does.
for the East Coast. So, for me, it's once I'm up and going, people are already a little bit ahead of where I've been. So I'm playing catch up for the most part in the
Yeah,
morning.
that I totally get it. Now we were just talking. We've got a lot of folks that log in here from the Pacific and the Mountain Time Zone. Um, Definitely more difficult the further you get away from East Coast time. Okay, let's talk about your AI system here. Can you tell us about it? How it works? How does it identify stocks? What do you look for? And if you want to tie that to Viking, that would be great because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of folks that are interested in this stock here today. So if we want to use this as the example, beautiful, perfect timing. Tell us about your AI system.
Yeah, so it's a machine called Trade Machine. It's created by a gentleman named Ophir who uh the issue with AI systems, especially over the last 8 years that I've been looking into it, is that it's always been a trader that's been telling an engineer or a dev or a programmer what it wants, and there's always something lost in translation. It's just never been effective. The difference in this situation is that Ophir is a trader who's also a dev engineer. I mean, he's an extremely smart gentleman. This guy is a quant. He's contracted by hedge funds, but more importantly, he's a trader as well. So he understands the dynamics of trading. And that's really where I have found the system to be really highly effective, is that it is a system built for traders by a trader. This essentially is targeting technical based setup. So it's utilizing a algo setup of um, technical alignment and price action, and then it's going to whittle it down based on historical reference. The historical reference won't veer back too far. It wants to be relative in the more current market environment. So it's tracking data over the last 3 years. And then if it likes the performance, then the system, that large language model, is basically gonna, kind of gauge it in this current environment and see what the probabilities of success is.
So let me just pause you right there. You're talking about past performance. Is this almost like a seasonality type thing with a 3-year look back period as opposed to like a traditional 10-year look back period?
So that's a great question. There's some categories that are going to be based on seasonality, pre-earnings trades, for example. But no, this is actually based on technical structure. So it's based on how stocks will behave around key technical levels that it's looking at.
Okay.
And it's kind of taken the incorporation of price action, short-term bullish behavior weighted against short-term price action, weighted versus longer term. And so it's trying to pick up on these nuances of, maybe, a rise in sentiment or a rise in renewed interest or, strength in performance. And again, it's just gauging it under the current market environment. And then it just spits these names out to you, and then you as a human, certainly the machine is not going to be 100% correct,
Of course.
even with setups that can have high probability. It doesn't matter, you still have to kind of gauge it and really kind of filter it within yourself to see, is this going to be a trade that's worth taking in this environment regardless of the metrics. And so that's kind of what I use the system plus my previous history of trading plus my, I'm not a fundamentalist. I'm a technician. I'm a chartist. I've always traded behind the screen since 2007. So it's something that I can relate to. And so I'm incorporating my skill set with this opportunity, or with these names that are being presented as opportunities, and then I kind of just gauge which ones I want to have consideration for, which ones I would just kind of cool off on. So
Okay. Folks, if any of that sounds interesting to you, learn how to use Charlie's AI system to pinpoint high profit potential trade setups, even in the most volatile markets. I threw the link in the chat. There's also a QR code if you want to scan that to get access to that. Okay, so the next question that I wanted to ask you is what do you or the system, what do you like right now? You kind of already gave me one with VKTX. So can we talk about this? Can we start with VKTX?
sure, it looks like the reaction today is off of their obesity pill, and initially jumped up to around $61, which is a huge jump in premium. They're trading at 42.09 at the
Yep.
close. Right now they're down to 27.70. So based on what the AI system would look at in terms of historical reference, if the stock has had some major sell-offs and the likelihood of a rebound is very high, it would probably fit under a category called buy the sell off. It would take a spread based approach versus just buy an outright call. And again, it would only recommend this if two things: one, if the price performance is relegated to an opportunity; number two, if it has a past history of success relative to a drawdown, something like this. So if it gets flagged, I'll be highly interested. It's at a price point of great value. It's sustaining above their 52-week lows, so that's already a positive in that sense. But again, something that we're going to have to watch early. We don't want to end up buying at 27 if it's going to head down to 22. We could just be patient until then.
Okay, so do you have any levels that you're looking at? I know you just said 27 and 22. I'm looking at just kind of the hourly chart here. I noticed that I I hate to use it. We crashed all the way back to where we were back in July. So we really just kind of moved back down to some of these July levels. This actually looks like a pretty good consolidation level. Looks like maybe 26 might be a decent support. Any other key levels that you have here for ticker VKTX?
Yeah, that 26 congestion level is definitely a level to watch. 2380, which is the swing low of June 23rd, is going to be critical because without that level, it really opens the door for them to revisit somewhere around 20 to 18. And I don't think, I mean, at least so far from what I've seen, it's certainly trading outside the two standard deviations on that hourly chart. The hourly lows at 25.30, so it kind of lines up with that 26. It definitely staying above that 23.80. So, if that's going to be that sweet spot, this is where we could look for that sharp rebound. And again, with these type obesity type plays, we've seen the snapbacks in these names. Um, it wasn't like the trials ending. I guess there were some, endpoints in terms of data that Wall Street didn't like. I didn't read too significantly into it, but the trial's showing some success, and certainly they're not ending the trial. So, for me, this is going to be a potential rebound candidate if they can remain above this 25.30 level. If they break down, then they're going to apply a lot of pressure on 23.80, and that's where I always have, it's always a 50-50 moment at that price
Mhm.
when we break down these key pre-market lows. So if it sustains above 25.30, I love the rebound idea. I think it'd be as high as 39.40. I'm
Okay.
not sure if it could happen today, but it wouldn't surprise me. Stocks like this, especially pharmaceutical based stocks, could always bounce back, especially if Wall Street is a believer in the future as opposed to just a initial reaction off the trial news. So this is going to be something to watch here this morning.
Yeah, and absolutely. And we've actually taken a look at VKTX quite a bit. That's like you said, that's one of the stocks that has kind of this inherent volatility. Let me ask you, when you see something like this, does this cause you to think at other similar names? Like, for example, HIMS, which has also been a very volatile name. It's been really good for traders. They have a GLP-1 angle. There's a lot of talk here about Lilly. One of our viewers here, VKTX trial showed the same results as Lilly, and Lilly's actually up here today. Does
Yeah.
this factor into your trading plan at all? Do you look at metrics like this?
Yeah, 100%. We always it's really simply put the carry trade, right? In this world, obviously, if someone struggles, either they're going to take the ship down with them, or there's going to be others that are going to benefit from their overall price reaction. And it looks like Eli Lilly right now is going to be one of those names. Now, for me, Eli Lilly, they had that struggle, since earnings, but they bounced back nicely over the last week. They're starting to recover above their short-term moving averages, but Eli Lilly's had some difficulties sustaining, their gains. They've gotten up to this right around $815 price and keep getting knocked back down. It's been very suppressed underneath this 200-day moving average.
Yep.
This is a company that stands to just absolutely crush it in the long term. They've addressed their production issues. They're going to really be the leader, in my opinion, in this field. Um, I understand that, like Wegovy is one of those names that, could be their number one competitor, but it really looks like Eli Lilly stands to really be at the top of the hill here. I believe Zepbound is their primary GLP-1 along with Ozempic. I'm
Yep.
not sure if it was Ozempic is underneath them, but I know Zepbound's making a lot of noise. It's been proven that their results are going to be better or have been better than Wegovy, and they're going to be able to fix. Well, I guess they were already working on their margins by increasing production at their Wisconsin facility, and by 2026, this should be a really well-oiled machine. This is a great long-term value, and obviously in the short term, could be a breakout play. I would say around 735 this morning, and anything above that would be around 761. So there's definitely some great opportunities off of this news for Viking Therapeutics. But if Viking Therapeutics rallies strong, that could also, kind of tip the scales and then have that rotation go from Eli Lilly straight into BKTX as well this morning. So again, just once the bell opens, we'll get a better feel and kind of nuance of what Wall Street wants to do. And then, I always look for the coattails to ride here.
Sure. So at least we have two targets here. And then, that Zepbound, Ozempic is the semaglutide or semaglutide drug, and the Zepbound is their tirzepatide, which is, I guess, the newer one that has better results. Okay. Also, so Hims, this is the other one that I wanted to mention. Do you trade Hims at all? This is extremely volatile. I feel like we get asked about this on a regular basis. You have any outlook on Hims based off the news here today or otherwise, frankly?
Yeah, I love high beta names. So,
Okay.
certainly growth names that have good volatility. We've looked at some of the Astro plays like Lunar, ASTS, RKLB. But, we've seen a lot more of that sustainability really focused on the growth nuclear names like OKLO, SMR, NNE. But with HIMS, this was one of those high beta names where unfortunately, I think the recent news is relegated to the FDA and the FDA investigation. So I don't know until there's some clarity about that. Whenever there's a shroud of concern, the move automatically by Wall Street investors is go risk off. Take the profits now. We'll figure it out later. If it's worth buying lower, then it'll be worth buying lower. And so this is kind of what I've seen. It's been in a really bearish state since earnings. They were extremely volatile. They were down big. They rallied to fill the gap. They've gotten underneath the 50, been slowly working. I think that they're a must watch around $40. And how they interact with that price range along with the 200-day moving average there is going to be highly important because if there's not enough buyers and investors at 40, then we're now, projecting somewhere back into that, breakout range or prior breakout range, sub 35 into 30. So, that's a stark difference from where they were just trading at, which was 70s. But, HIMS is definitely a pretty interesting company. I'm not sure of FDA's stance on compound pharmacies, but this is by far the most popular one.
Yeah.
And again, if compound pharmacies are able to make it, again, HIMS is one of those companies that's positioned to be the leader in their field.
Okay, really good stuff here on Hims. We're currently right at testing a trend line on the bottom side here. If we break that, I think your $40 price target is right, or excuse me, your $40 level is right on there. That actually lines up pretty good with the last low that we made back here at the end of June as well. So
Right.
I think you're spot on there. Lion here from the chat says, I can see HIMS coming back to 35. You also gave that level 30, between 30 and 35. There was a gap down there. Actually looks like a pretty good level as well. Okay, really good stuff here. I'll get you out on this. Is there anything else that you like here today that we haven't talked about?
Tesla's pretty
Let's do.
perky this morning. Tesla's also been in one of those so it's been really weird, right? The market's been marching up here. We had that just kind of like 20-day period where the Qs just went up almost every single day. And Apple and Tesla were not major players in that moment. Neither really was Meta. Meta finally broke out. Microsoft was a big part of that, but it was really funny to see that it was basically all of Nvidia, AMD, AVGO that was really kind of pushing the Qs along. It was the semiconductor or the AI component makers. And now we're starting to see a little bit more life in the Mag 7 names. Amazon just recently exploded last week. Apple got through their 200-day moving average and had like pretty much a $10 jump. And I think that Tesla is one of those names that we got to be on watch. I think that at least this morning, the price level that I'm watching is 340. I think above 340, they're making this run straight to 350. 350 has been a suppressive zone. And a lot of people have looked at Tesla. A lot of people have looked at Tesla's wedge pattern on the daily chart, and they've broken free. Usually with these breakouts and pullbacks, as long as they're sustaining above key levels, that's going to be really important. Well, they came down on Friday to test the 200-day moving average. They're deflecting away from it again, so that's always a bullish sign. There's buyers coming in on this dip, but I like this 340 breakout. I think it's a rise straight to 350, but it's really just it's going to be the eventual push to like 375. And with a name like Tesla, that could be done by Friday. So
Yeah, no,
this
that's
is what I'm watching here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. We've seen a lot of big movement with Tesla. We currently have 350 to 360 being that next resistance area, that whole $10 area. But like you said, that can get cleared out in a day. All right, I'm getting asked by a number of different folks. They're all asking about the same thing. So Charlie, I lied. I got one more stock to ask you about here. And it kind of goes back to the fat drugs, as we collectively call them. What about NVO? We talked a lot about HIMS, Lilly. NVO here has a really, really awful looking chart. A couple of things here. NVO has more upside. NVO got to a level you can't ignore anymore. It looks like NVO has a lot of room to the upside. So what say you or your AI system about NVO? We're clearly in this like supply area back from all the way back in 2021. You think this has a chance of a move higher here?
Yeah, I respectfully, I think everybody's looking for the next UNH.
Yeah.
And it's been basketed together, right? UNH, NVO, ACN. I don't doubt it, right? Like I said, I believe NVO is the maker of Wegovy. I look at this from a technical standpoint. For me, the breakout play is going to be above their gap bar. The gap bar is a July 29th high. That is the key price, 55.37. They're actually yesterday rejected right at the 21 EMA 20 SMA level. So once we get past that price, which is 54 and three quarters, and then get past this 55.37, there's what I call a profit pocket. There's nothing that's from a technical standpoint going to be an effective range that sellers can lean on, and buyers are going to see this gapping, right? They're going to see this big spacing, and they're like, all right, well, this is ready to make a run. So I would say set your alerts above this 55.73 price. Look for the stock to anchor above these short-term moving averages like the 21 EMA. And if they're holding above this level, then you're targeting that 50. That 50 SMA is at 64.65. So that's about $9 from that breakout price. And then the eventual gap fill, which is the closing price of July 28th, that's at 69 bucks. Once we get to 64, you can start targeting 69. Remember, we can't get to 69 unless we get past 64. So I really like that kind of breakout spacing. Again, NVO is a little gappy because it's an ADR, but it's really starting to pick itself up, a little bit of a V reversal. they're entering more and more into bullish zones on shorter time frames. I just think the final boss is going to be right around that 56 price. And once it clears, well, we'll see. We'll see how Wall Street reacts.
Okay, that's awesome. And you just got yourself bonus points for saying the final boss level. That is absolutely awesome. You are going to fit in really well here with our community, Charlie. That's for sure. Folks, learn how to use Charlie's AI system to pinpoint high profit potential trade setups, even in the most volatile markets, in his live webinar. QR code on the screen. Link is in the chat. Charlie, awesome stuff here today. Great to meet you. Can't wait to have you back on. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. All right. Good luck today.
You as well, Ryan. Thank you.
You're welcome. That is it. In fact, Charlie Moon, folks, the T3 guys keep doing it. Really, really awesome stuff there. And thank you, folks, for the interaction here. We were able to keep him around a little bit longer. Really good breakdown there on NVO. Who was it asking? Was it Nathan? I think it was Nathan. Let me check here. Nathan, I need help. Please give me some stock ideas for today. Well, Charlie just gave it to you. We already gave you a couple, and guess what? Now it's time to give you some more because we're going to bring on 13 and we're going to rip through some of those movers. 13, good morning, boss. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Ryan. How are you? Good morning, everybody in the chat. Hope everybody's having a good morning. What's up?
Dude, 13, I am having a much better day here today. I got a full night's rest, which is exactly what my body needed, and I feel great here today, ready to attack this market again. Why don't you and I just dive into some of these movers right off the bat, get those knocked out, and then any remaining time we have, we can do ticker time. How does that sound?
All right, I'm here for it.
Okay. First stock on the movers list. Well, I mean, I want to hear what you covered here. I got to imagine that Lassie was on that list because this is one that we have traded like a billion times in the past on this show. Stock was about $2.50 yesterday, and we tested 5 and change here in the pre-market. You can see it had a huge move after hours and then a little bit of carry through here today. Now, what's going on here? They reported earnings. Laser Photonics Q2 EPS was a 12-cent loss. That was up from the 20-cent loss estimate. Sales 2.599 million. That's up from 623,000. That's up from 623,000 year over year. So a big come on, Ryan, a big boost in sales there. Let's see, what else did we have here? And then they also had a strategic growth initiative. So I wanted to mention this. Laser Photonics was bolstered by Control Microsystems acquisition completed in the fourth quarter of 2024, which secured significant orders from a Fortune 500 appliance manufacturer and a global manufacturing services provider. Lassie announced the strategic acquisition of Beamer Laser Marking Systems in June, which has historically generated $3+ million in annual revenue and operates 19 tech centers and 5 demonstration showrooms across the country. So some pretty good news here for Lassie. Quick look around the horn on this one. 7.9% of the float shorted. That comes on 4.57 days to cover. Now that comes on 382,000 shares of volume. We're 20 million plus here in the pre-market already. So I'm not sure that days to cover is going to be high enough to really have a meaningful effect today, but it's still fairly highly shorted. Float here is 9.6 million. 13, what are you thinking on LASE?
You covered pretty much the majority of it. One thing that I noticed from the report that both the CFO and the CEO were pushing was their 2 million in annualized cost reductions while maintaining their growth trajectory. So they're very happy about saving money. And it's understandable, too, because they could be raising capital at some point soon here. They are showing that they have got they don't have much in the bank in terms of cash, and they are losing. Well, they just reported their earnings, as you said. So they just reported a net loss of 1.7 million. So they're gonna they have revenue, they're growing, it's great, but I don't know that they're gonna make it to the next quarter or to the end of the year if they don't, raise some of their capital. So I would anticipate there being some kind of offering that could come as early as today, just to keep that out there. But other than that, great report. Otherwise, showing that they have tremendous growth going on year over year, especially. Now, as far as the chart goes, I've already got levels marked off here from the last time that we traded this. And now we are, we're up at almost 470 right now. the levels I've got here from the last time, we got 460 and 480 as being a little bit of an area where you're going to find some support and resistance. But also, if we get through 480, we've got resistance areas up at, of course, a psychological level of $5, but 530 and 555 as well. And I've got these levels going up into the sixes. But if we start getting up towards there, I'll just rattle them off. But for now, let's see if we can just get up to 5.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there on LASE. That was our biggest mover when we started, but it looks like we had some more action here. Ticker PRFX. This is another one that we've traded before on this show, right off the movers list or right off the scanner. This is, of course, pain reform. Let's see what's going on with this. I actually didn't have this checked out before the market opened here today. Pain reform and Deep Solar accepted into an NVIDIA Connect program. Wasn't there another company that we traded that was part of the NVIDIA Connect program? What was that?
I don't remember.
But we did do that, and I remember that was like a multi-day move that stock had. So maybe we get something similar here on pain reform. Looking at this stock, this closed at what, $1.35 yesterday? Boy, we spiked above 3. We've come in a little bit, but we're right at the VWAP there on PRFX. Let's take a quick look around the horn here. 8.85% of the float shorted on this name with 1 day to cover. That 1 day to cover comes on an average 100-day volume of 164,000. That's basically nothing. Float here is pretty small, 1.46. So maybe we'll get an opportunity here. What say you, 13? What are you thinking on PRFX?
Just a quick look up. I think it might have been ticker EKSO, Exo Bionics, that had that we may have traded on that, accepted into NVIDIA Connect program news. Just a quick one. It might have been, it might not have been. Just wanted to see if I could figure it out.
Okay.
I might be wrong. But PRFX, yeah, they got accepted into the NVIDIA Connect program. They've got 1.46 million shares. They do need some capital because they burned quite a bit of it, and they do not have a whole lot of it. 2.7 million in cash. Their income, they don't have any. And they recently posted a net loss of 7.3 million. So I would anticipate there being a capital raise at this company as early as today. Don't know if we'll get that, but just keep that in the back of your head because they are going to need to raise capital. Now let's get some levels here. I think I've got a couple. 240 is going to be your support from where we're at right now, and I'm looking at resistance at 275. That's about the best I've got for right now. We are trading beneath the VWAP. It looks like we're trying to come back up and recapture it. So we'll see if we end up getting that into as we go into the open. One thing I'll be watching for as we approach the open is whether or not we do get above VWAP, because if we continue to go lower, then I think that would be a good signal to just let it continue to shake itself out. We'll wait for a bottom, and then we can start trading this. Alternatively, if this starts to recapture its VWAP and go on a run past this 330 high that it made in the pre-market, I'd probably also want to just let it do its thing and let it come back in, because we don't want to chase either. So depending on what ends up happening here with this one, we'll make a decision. But for now, I just want to see what happens with the VWAP.
Okay. Yeah, real good stuff. I mean, looking at this chart, it sure looks like VWAP is the next hurdle to cross here. If it can, maybe we can go up towards that 3, and then we are pre-market high up here, 328. So we'll see if we can hit that. Okay, good breakdown there, 13 PRFX.
Raffle, most of the time it does, unless they do a private placement. But most of the time, you're right, it does.
What really quickly, just because we're talking about dilution, what do you think of SoftBank investing in Intel shares, new Intel shares?
Well,
because it does dilute it, but the market here is telling you that, you know what, those dilution concerns are not as important as this investment.
Well, how much was the amount of the investment?
It was, I believe, here. I actually have the story here. I can give you all of this stuff. This was going to be the, where are you? I clicked on the wrong story here. $2 billion investment here. And then was there anything else tied to that? The deal would give the Japanese investment giant just under a 2% equity stake, making it Intel's 6th largest shareholder. So $2 billion worth of common stock at $23 per share.
I think I would probably want to look into that some more, just to see what this $2 billion is going to go towards, because they've had, they've raised capital before, and that's that's been all for naught because they're not pumping out with their fabs. They're not executing, and they just had a recent CEO change, and now they want to he wants to take things in a different direction. I don't know. Just looking at that headline, what I can infer from that, because I don't.
That's okay. I kind of surprised you with the question.
No, it's okay.
But I appreciate you.
My first thought is I would want to know more because it seems a little bit like vague to me.
Okay. Intel, here's a look at your Intel chart. While we're talking about movers, I guess we might as well throw this on here. Here's a look at the Intel chart. This is actually down from its highs in the pre-market and actually battling right around the VWAP. It's kind of right in this 24-25 area. Okay. Raffle here is saying the 2% won't help. 2% won't help Intel. They're going to need more than that. Okay. Anyway, next here on the movers list is going to be GXAI 13. I don't know. This looks like did you cover this one too?
Yeah.
Perfect. Gaxo shares are trading higher after the company announced the launch of its ArtGen AI video creation platform. I can't wait to see if you've actually tried this out at all after going through this. Anyway, 1.77% of the float shorted here. That comes on 1.17 days to cover, and that comes on a paltry average volume of 126,000 shares. Today we've traded 44 million, so I really don't think the short interest plays any role in today's trading, either metric, frankly. Float on this stock, 6.9 million shares. What do you got on Gaxos Labs?
6.9 million shares launching their ArtGen AI platform. They got about a quarter's worth of cash. So it's just been nothing but a bunch of companies that are kind of on shaky ground with their finances. As far as the chart goes, we are trying to hold above VWAP right now, although in the pre-market here, we may have put in a double top. We'll see if that ends up being the case. It's looking like it might roll over here, but it is still holding above VWAP for the moment. Current high in the pre-market is 185. I'll just say one thing about this ArtGen AI. We've talked about, something like this ending up happening now that we've seen what VEO3 can do from Google. Yep. And we were talking about how we might see some of these advertising budgets begin to shrink as firms and companies, tighten up and consolidate their staff down and rely on AI to make their marketing images and videos. I think that's the direction we're going. This is likely going to be one company that's going to help in that direction. But for the purpose of trading today, let's see what we get with VWAP. I think if we lose that, we're going to come back in probably towards about 140, maybe even lower.
Okay, good stuff there. Good morning, Crow. Great to see a Crow and Lambo Rolls. Welcome, folks. Okay, moving on here. As if we haven't seen enough of VSIG, it's back 13. So I hope you're ready here. VSIG graduating from penny territory yesterday is about 86 cents at the close. We did test 140 here today, although we've come right back in, lost VWAP, really even haven't made I guess we gave it the college effort, but we really didn't make a really good effort at taking out the VWAP here to the upside. News as of today, VCI Global announces $2 billion partnership secured by sovereign-grade encrypted infrastructure. This is a leading digital asset holder to launch a $2.16 billion sovereign-grade infrastructure venture. What do you think? Are you excited about this? Stock's holding 27% higher. Really quickly, sorry, I got too excited there. Your short interest on this has actually come down substantially in our last print, down to 4.11%. That's a move down from 14.63%. Days to cover still there at 1, and based on the average volume, that's going to be a non-factor here today. On average, stock trades 3.7 million. Today, we've traded 49 million. Float here, 25.5 million. What do you think, 13?
Well, VCIG is going to have a 70% equity stake in this joint venture, and it looks like they're also going to be using VCIG's sovereign encrypted storage platform called QuantVault. So they're pretty heavily involved with this. But when we were trading VCIG, we always knew that this was kind of junky, and I don't know if this is going to change anything with that. But they do seem to be getting a lot of financing. They're accumulating Bitcoin, so maybe there is something here. But I don't know. I would have to really dig deeper into this to know what I'm dealing with here. Because to me, this is still just another junk name that if it goes under $1, it's going to trade worse than it probably is right now.
Okay. Just kind of going through some of the previous news here. On Thursday, August 14th, VCI Global secures a $51 million convertible note financing to expand the sovereign AI infrastructure and launch a Bitcoin treasury reserve. I think that we talked about it back then. I can't remember exactly, but I feel like we've seen this quite a bit here recently.
You were on vacation.
Yeah, but didn't we 14? Yeah, that was my first day. Yeah, I think I did go through that though in the morning. That's what I'm thinking about.
I'll say this: there have been so many names that have done this strategy that they're all kind of just melting together. Right now.
Yeah, they are.
So it's just and if you all you have to do is just look and see what all the other names have done when they're talking about making a Bitcoin or crypto treasury. See how they trade. They're all very similar. They'll have a good day or two, and then they'll start to really come in.
Okay. Next on the list here is LiDAR. This is another one that's been on our list here recently. Smoke Tuna, good morning, saying LiDAR on setup. So here we go. Here's a look at LiDAR. This is ticker LIDR. Company is AI. This did pop here in the after hours, 250 up to about 325. We're really kind of trading around the VWAP right now. Haven't really broken away from that. As of today, this is a kind of a PR that hits multiple companies here. $1 billion autonomous technology sector poised for significant revenue and growth opportunities. They mention VisionWave, V-Wave, Mobileye, MBLY, LiDAR, NVIDIA, and Palantir in this.
And V-Wave.
Yeah. This is, and then I'm looking for the LiDAR section here.
V-Wave appears to have its own set of news, but it's not moving on it.
So here we go. So LiDAR, a pioneer in high-performance LiDAR technology and the creator of both the Apollo LiDAR sensor and the Optis full-stack LiDAR solution, recently announced that its flagship Apollo LiDAR has been fully integrated by NVIDIA to drive AGX platform, a critical part of NVIDIA's highly touted autonomous vehicle ecosystem. Okay, so here, anyway, this is what's moving LiDAR here today. Quick look around the horn on this one. 16.32% of the float shorted. Interesting, that is a double up of its short interest from the last read that we got there at about 8% and change. Still only 1 day to cover. On average, the stock trades 17 million shares. Today we're at 5 million. Float here is about 39 million. What do you think on this one, 13?
On LiDAR?
LIDR.
Let me look at the chart, my broker here, because there's, I don't think that there's a whole lot I need to cover as far as the company goes. We know what this company is. We've traded them before. 38 million shares in the float, not the exact area of shares that we want to see in a float. A little bit heavier to move around, but should be okay. We just don't want to start seeing them in hundreds of millions. As far as the price action goes, it's been mostly sideways since the news broke yesterday. Defending the 285 area, we've got 3 different instances where that has provided support. You can just look right there on your chart. That all 3 of those bottoming areas are all at 285. So that's kind of a good sign, I think. But let's look at this a little bit further. We also have a trend line here that's you could draw from the 329 high down through the other highs that we made in the pre-market. They line up pretty nicely. So I got a bit of a triangle here. A descending, it could be viewed as a descending triangle, because if we do lose that 285, then we are going to really have a bad time, and it's probably going to come down to 260 or lower. But if we break over this trend line, then we can look at different levels of $3. I mean, first resistance area is going to be 310, then 320, and then of course 330. They're all in 10-cent increments.
Okay. Good stuff there. LIDR. The only other one on here that I wanted to cover is going to be AREC, AREC. Someone was mentioning this earlier, although I can't remember who that was. But then I saw a comment here from Jay Rice, XPEV, getting closer to turning a profit. You want to take this one, 13? We talked a little bit about this yesterday. I was kind of chuckling at some of the slides you were sending over. So get ready for that. We're going to do AREC first, but I definitely want you to address this, and we can talk about some of those other Chinese EV names if you'd like. Here's AREC. So you can see we did pop about as high as 170. We've come back in. We really lost the VWAP on that. Re-Element Technologies and Vulcan Elements finalized long-term supply agreement for rare earth oxides to enable domestic magnet production. This is the Re-Element Sources is under the umbrella of American Resources. So it looks like a supply deal here, and that's popping the stock. Stock's holding higher here by about 17.3%. Percent of float short here, 6.23% of float, and then 2.22 days to cover. So kind of lower on both of those metrics, frankly. On average, stock trades 2.11 million shares per day. Today, we've traded just shy of 10, and the float here is pretty big. It's 71 million. What do you think on AREC?
I don't know enough about the company. I'd want to kind of dive in to see what their production is like, and if this is going to have an immediate effect, or if it's going to be one of those things that takes a while to get operations going. So I don't know where they're at operationally, but 71 million shares in the float, going to be a little bit thicker, harder to move, but still should be able to be tradable. We're trading beneath the VWAP right now after we had a big impulse move that took us up over 168. Let me look at the financials real quick. Doesn't seem like they have a lot of cash on hand, and they lose money. So potential capital raise coming with this one. And got a bit of a got a bit of a trend line here too that we could also draw. See if we end up recapturing that. Just drop to the two highs we made in the pre-market here. If we get a recapture of VWAP, we might end up just breaking through this trend line as well. But here's, I'm just kind of, saying all these things out loud, like what's their production like, how, what kind of yields do they have? It's because I want to see how, where they are in relation to MP Materials. MP Materials, they kind of went on a big run.
Yep. And USAR.
And USAR. And I think they're, they're well established and far enough along to where they're going to see, they're going to see a lot of production. I don't know if that's the case with AREC. So that would be the thing I would be looking at is where are they at with their production, with their operations, see if they're going to get any, any kind of return.
Okay.
Where I would be looking at, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like this one either. I definitely wanted to mention it because someone else was on here. It's also worth noting that Open has a little bit of continuation here today. There's nothing new on the story or anything that we need to cover. Just know this is continuing a little bit today. And then also, good morning, Jennifer. Great to see you. And then Madib is asking RIP VKTX. If you missed the segment earlier with Charlie from T3, you should rewind the show. He thinks there's a trade here in VKTX. He gave some very specific levels as well, and he's going to be looking at how that trades around the open. So if you want to take a look at his plan, go back and check that out. That was from 8:30 this morning. We got to it pretty much on time, maybe a couple of minutes later. Okay. And I'm also seeing news. I want you to talk about XPEV real quick, but I'm also seeing news here that Robinhood launches pro and college football prediction markets. Okay. So what's happening with DKNG and Flutter? Because these are the obvious competitors. Okay. DKNG trading down, and then Flutter. Let's take a look at that as well. Both of those are trading down here. I'm just seeing this cross the wire. I'm going to give you my knee-jerk reaction here. These might be idiot drops. I don't think anybody, and I mean anybody that I know, is moving their sports gambling. And believe you me, I know plenty of people that do sports gambling. I don't think a single one of them would move that to the Robinhood account. I think I said prediction, didn't I? I messed it up the first time, but then I corrected it to prediction markets. So to me, I almost think these are buy the dips here on Flutter or DKNG. Do your own due diligence, get your own risk parameters out there. But to me, it sure seems like these are buy the dip opportunities. Thank you for the news there. Producer Michael, man, he he does like 6 things at once. Like he makes jokes, makes clips, attends meetings, and breaks news at once. That's 4. And he does that every single day. It's really, really amazing. Okay, 13. Do you want to talk a little bit about XPEV, or what do you want to do?
Sure. I was just going to ask. I mean, what's to stop DraftKings or any other platform from doing this too? I guess would be my question. This just seems like something that any one of them could add.
Say that one more time.
The prediction markets that Hood is doing. Why wouldn't DraftKings or Flutter be able to do something like that?
Do they really? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So the chat's already on this. So a couple of things here. Is prediction markets more desirable than just outright betting? My answer would be no. Lambeau Rose, though, giving a pretty good example. I disagree. I live in Minnesota, and sports betting is illegal here, but we can do this on Robinhood, so that's huge. But again, okay. So prediction market's going to be slightly different than traditional sports betting, and perhaps the loophole here is that now states where sports betting is illegal, this is another opportunity. I still don't think that shows downside for DraftKings, though.
Okay, well, yeah,
it was illegal. Sports betting was illegal in those states anyway. There's nothing new here. You're just saying that there's some other way you can get your fix by using these predictive markets. I agree that that's probably a good thing for Robinhood. I'm not sure that's going to affect the business of these other two. We'll see.
Yeah, all I'm saying is like this is, and I understand what the chat is saying, that you can do this on Robinhood because, like as you said, it's not traditional sports betting. But all I'm saying is, what's to stop DraftKings from doing the very same thing?
Yeah, I'm sorry, 13. That's a very good point, and I completely missed that. You're absolutely right. You're right. If this does hit, they could spin that up in a day.
Sure. Yeah, that's all I was getting at. Like,
yeah. I'm sorry.
So really, all it comes down to is just the legality of it, and I guess the loophole that Robinhood is dealing with, because as they're saying, if you have this on DraftKings or another platform where gambling is illegal in that state, sure, they're not going to be able to access that.
Okay, this is an interesting one. This is news fresh of this morning. We'll take a look at this as the market opens. I certainly don't need to buy any of these things now, so we'll watch how they trade. But really good stuff, producer there. Appreciate that. Okay, did you want to talk about the Chinese EVs at all?
Sure, we can. I mean, just I'll touch on it real quick because we've got about 10 minutes left, and we still want to go through some of the tickers, I believe. But I was making some posts to you because there was China EVs might be coming back, and started watching and reading into some stuff and finding that a lot of their key metrics show that BYD and NIO and XPeng.
XPEV, NEO, Lee, all the tickers we're familiar with.
Yeah, they're really behind on their payments, and sure, they're going to look like they're going to have growth because when you basically produce a whole ton of vehicles, and you're going to promote those numbers. When you have a bunch of deliveries, you're going to promote those numbers, but you really don't you don't really see too much of them touting figures beyond that. And those look like they're with those metrics that they're growing. But when you understand that a lot of those deliveries, if not all of them, are going to dealerships where these vehicles are just sitting around doing nothing, not getting sold, it really does muddy the waters pretty heavily here about where their growth prospects are going.
Muddied waters in Chinese companies? Impossible.
Yeah. And at the same time, all of these companies, their debt continues to grow. Their margins are improving, but that's only because they're not paying their suppliers. So if you're not paying your suppliers, you're creating a bit of a debt bubble here, to where if your suppliers can't afford to stay in business, you're not going to be able to stay in business because your suppliers are disappearing. It's a compounding situation over there that is going to lead to the collapse of a lot of different EV companies over there, and even industry leaders over in China are saying of the 160 something EV companies that are in China right now, they only anticipate that a handful of them, maybe 30, will survive to 2030. So it's a really I wouldn't put into a whole lot of stock into what the growth prospects are for any of these EV companies, because until they can start paying their suppliers and manage their debt better, I don't want to touch these things. These are just massive leverage machines, and I think this is a big collapse that's going to be coming here financially for these companies.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there, 13. I appreciate that. Anne-Marie Band says, I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked at the muddy waters. Then we have Lion talking about gambling over and over again here. So, of course, you know what my brain did. Yeah, it went to Casablanca. And it's like, I'm shocked to find out that gambling is going on here. Now I'm playing the entire Casablanca movie on the back of my eyelids, so I'm going to have a ton of quotes here today. Thank you, Anne-Marie and Lion, for that. That's awesome. All right, what else do we want to do here today? I pretty much went through all of the movers that I wanted to take a look at here. We can take a look at it. Yeah, is there anything that you want to? Whatever. Oscar, OSCR, and TEM were suggested by the chatters earlier. So let's start with those two. We should easily be able to cover those two stocks. Remember, Oscar was a Tim Melvin pick. Actually, Oscar was a Tim Melvin pick before one of these huge moves. You should have already made some money on it. And then you got an opportunity to reload. Basically, what we've done here is we held the 500-day and we recaptured the 200-day. Most recently, we've recaptured the 50-day moving average. This might be moving with the stake that Buffett took in UNH. It might just kind of be moving the sector. Here's what Oscar looks like. I'll tell you what, 13, I don't know what you think, but I'm kind of looking at this, and I'm just going to draw the first thing that stood out to me. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder forming right here. Now, I don't know if this is really going to kind of play out, but this is one of the things that I'm seeing here. What do you think on Oscar?
I think it's got short squeeze potential. I like this your idea here of a head and shoulders. But I think that might be a little bit of a tall head. Like this is almost like a giraffe, I guess. I'm joking. I think what I like about your head and shoulders pattern is the shoulder line. It's up at an area that has seen resistance before, like about 1850, maybe a little bit less, like 1840 or 30. But right in that area, there's been clear history of resistance. So maybe we do try and push up through that area, and it gets rejected again, and we leave the downside. I think your head and shoulders theory might work, but just that area up in there between $18 and $18.50 seems like that's been a historically prominent area of resistance. So I would see what happens up there. Yeah.
Short interest on this name, 30% of the float shorted, days to cover 1.5. And this day is already off the rails because Crow is talking about a poutine pizza. And it is unlikely I'm going to be able to think about anything else now. Thank you, Crow. You're awesome on that.
And Maria, for Oscar, it says almost 30%, like 29.95 of the float is shorted. Now, there's only 1.5 days to cover, so it doesn't really fit all of our parameters for a short squeeze. But just the fact that we have like 30% of the float shorted is enough to at least get some squeezy action in here. So I don't know if we'll see a lot of that today, but there's going to be certain levels that we're going to hit where some of these shorts are hanging out. We'll know when we get past them because you'll see the price shoot right up. So that's something that I'll just be watching for. I don't know where those shorts are hanging out at. Maybe they're hanging out at 18. Could be. So we'll see if we get up there, if we get any kind of breakout move that takes us up into short covering heaven.
So we have a giraffe pattern here, Giraffic Park, according to thinking about it, which is actually pretty awesome. This is a new term now, Giraffic Park. This is going to go on a shirt with a really high head and shoulders, and we're going to call it Giraffic Park. This is awesome. All right.
What's that Toys R Us giraffe? What is it, Jeffrey? You gotta put him in the background there because that'd be perfect.
Toys R Us is out of business, right? So we have no copyright issue.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're probably good. Okay, sweet. Great idea. Let's get it done.
Good idea.
All right, that's Oscar. There you go, real quick. And then TEM was the other one. I think this was Chenier that wanted to take a look at this. I apologize if I got it wrong there. Here's TEM. We made a huge move recently. To me, as far as targets go, really, I'm just going to extend this trend line out. This is what I'd be looking at here. I've got this at $91. TEM recently clearing the recent high from June. Maybe some of these other highs, maybe this $80 high. But TEM, this actually looks pretty good here. This is down 0.5% in the pre-market. We didn't have anything here today. Down 0.5% in the pre-market. You see anything here on this chart, 13? I mean, this to me looks like a runaway, right? So personally, I'd be looking for a pullback down to a support or a consolidation level, maybe back some of this overbought indicator off. But TEM, this sure looks like this might go a little bit higher. And boy, I think I changed too quickly there to get the drawing to save. What do you think on TEM?
I mean, we're coming up this. Okay.
Jay Rice says this is going a lot higher in the next 5 years, in my opinion. There we go.
I mean, I can see that. As far as today goes, it looks like $80 is going to be a resistance area. You look back to 2024, that's kind of where the price was topping out at before it came back in. We did get a move through that area in February, only to come right back in. So we do have some areas we can look at for support and resistance. And right now, I see $80 as the next area of resistance. I wouldn't be surprised if after we hit $80 that we came back in before we're making another attempt to push through and touch this trend line that you have there on the top. Let me just look at one other thing here because I noticed something that I want to make sure I've got a line out for here. There might be a bit of a trend line that we can also draw as well. That starts at the top of May. Okay, so if we draw a trend line from the top of May through the top of June, that kind of gives us another potential area to watch for. It takes us slightly over 80, maybe as high as 82 today, but I don't know that we'll get there. I'm just trying to see if where some other areas of resistance could come into play. But for today, I like 80 and 82.
Okay,
How about that?
Really good stuff. We did it. In fact, go ahead and add that trend line here to the chart. Okay, we are under a minute till we open. We did it, folks. We got through all of the news, and we got through all of the stocks that we wanted to get ready for. Now we're ready for the open. You know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to refresh my platform here real quick. Get a nice fresh load in there for the open. And then let's see what we got here.
And if our August pattern holds, we're going to have a red day.
Yep. And I'm still amazed at how well that's been holding.
I think it's ridiculous at this point.
It's ridiculous. You're exactly right. It is absolutely ridiculous. You hit it right on the head.
Oh, man.
We're here for it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's still working, so why not? All right.
All right. There's your bell. We're open, folks.
And here we go. We have, look at PRFX. That did go make a new pre-market high into the open here. So let's just see what we end up getting here. It's holding VWAP at the moment, but I think I'm just going to wait this one out a little bit. GXAI getting the support from VWAP. LIDR going lower. It just lost a 65 EMA. VSIG looks like this one wants to get going. Might run up to that 120 area again and find resistance. So we'll see if we get that. Looks like LASE is also trying to make a move, but that's been sideways.
VSIG starting to go here. Ondas popping right out of the gate. I filled a little bit of DraftKings here for a little trade. Come on, DraftKings. Let's buy this idiot drop. Let's do it.
All right,
fill price 44.06 on DraftKings, by the way. Just looking for a little bit here. I'd like it to maybe push a little bit higher here, but if I don't get it, we'll just peel this off the table and wait for another setup. Give me another move higher right here.
LIDR, that looks like that's going to come down to test that 285 level again, where it's been getting support all pre-market and after hours.
LIDR.
AREC opened beneath the 200 EMA and is recapturing multiple EMA levels coming up towards that trend line that we drew. We'll see if it has enough volume to break through it.
Filled on the DraftKings, little scalp there on that idiot drop. We'll see if this sets up again here. It didn't get much on it. Only got like 40 cents, 30 some cents there, but that'll do. Here's LASE. Actually, looks like this is pushing a little bit. Let me get rid of the... Nope, this is pushing right off that VWAP. 454 VWAP, LASD. I've got the next target here, 487 that it needs to take out.
Got to mention on that Home Depot is ripping, and that'd be silly if that goes up to that 420 area I mentioned yesterday.
Here is your Home Depot. Boy, that's interesting. When I get some more time, I'll probably look through this. Felicia from our afternoon program, really good call here. You know, what is Home Depot going to say about lumber? You know, we buy a lot of lumber from Canada. What's going on there? DraftKings looking like we might get more of the bounce here. All I had to do was get out of the way, but that was money. That was a good trade right off the get.
LASC coming up to test 5.
Got it. There we go. That's moving here too. Okay.
There's a big wall of sellers at $5, so that's probably going to put some pressure to the downside here. But if we can continue with this volume expansion, we're going to take that wall out. And we could blast through that 518 high that we made in the pre-market and go to 530.
VKTX here, really quick. This is actually losing the pre-market low right off the open here. So it actually, did we pop or is that a volume candle? That's a volume candle. So it looks like we actually rolled over lower here on VKTX. A reminder here, those next levels, I think if he said if it breaks 25, we're looking at maybe $20 here. So VKTX, one to keep in mind, this is down 41% on the day, VKTX.
And Joseph Schmo, that's a great point. I thought that their earnings wasn't the greatest either. So I'm a little bit kind of scratching my head as to why we're getting such a big movement. But there must be something that was said in there that is giving investors more of a reason to buy this up. We're still struggling with the highs from last Wednesday. So we'll see if we get past that. But I agree that earnings wasn't the most impressive, but they weren't necessarily that bad either. All right, so let's look at some of these movers. So LASE, that's still dealing with that $5 wall. PRFX trying to get support from the 9 EMA. GXAI, we had a big drop that took us down to 150. That's turning around and trying to recapture VWAP right now. BCIG, sure enough, we ran up to that 120 area. Looks like 118 is as high as it got before it ran into some resistance. So until we get a little bit more volume expansion, that's going to take us through these sellers at 120, 125, and 130 in BCIG. Probably going to continue to see that resistance there at about 120. Need to see more volume expansion in this one. LIDR, this is losing that support at 285. We still have the rest of this candle to finish, but only 10 seconds left. So it's not looking great right now for LIDR. This might need a little bit more time. And AREC, that's not doing a whole lot at the moment. Needs more volume.
AREC, DraftKings, that pop continuing. That is $1 now from that entry. I'm out of it, but that worked here a little bit. Let's check on Flutter as well.
All right, LASE.
Networking.
This took out that seller at 5. We're holding above 5 right now. Trying to push higher, looking for 530. 518 is the pre-market high. We ran right to that on this impulse move.
Yep.
5. And now we're moving higher, trying to get to 530. That's the next.
This to me, this is a huge. If we pop this here, I think we probably move higher. Otherwise, we'll see where we settle here. I'm going to watch LAS.
530. Ta-da!
How about that? I wish I had that ta-da sound. We'll have to go with the one-up sound instead, just to our Mario roots. Really good call there on that trade, though, 13. LASE.
Getting a little bit more now, 534. Some sellers stepping in. So if we come back in here, we'll be looking at 5 VWAP and 485 as support areas.
Intel screaming higher here. We actually took out that pre-market high. Looks like 25 and change is your high there, 25.66. On this, still dropping off that initial spike. Interesting action there. I think that's just some early volatility, though. PanW put buying into this report, or into the reaction. This was actually a really good report here for PanW. I guess maybe I don't know if they're selling the 185s there.
Yeah, so that descending triangle in LIDR was not a misread. I think that was pretty good. We're breaking down here. Looks like we may end up going to 265, 260.
On which one?
LIDR.
Sorry. Let me put that up here.
Uh-oh. We also got a call for GXAI to get our helmets on. We're going to break out of this 185 high. I mean, it seems like we've already hit it once, and we're trying to hit it again. I think that's what we're looking for here, right? Smoke Tuna, this break over 185. That's what I'm seeing.
This thing at its VWAP. I've got this thing at its VWAP at 166.
Yeah, it did hit that 185 3 times already today. So, there is a potential for a triple top here.
Tuna, what is your support area? You were just a really good mention here about not buying the breakout and instead buying the support area. GXAI was right down there at that VWAP. Do you have a support area on this one that you're looking for?
And you're absolutely right about that line. The market does feel weak. It felt weak yesterday too.
Yeah.
We're all just kind of waiting for Powell.
Here we
to
go.
talk.
GXAI. Oh, Tuna.
Yep.
Did you catch one, Tuna?
I want to see some volume expansion here. Let's take us through 185. Otherwise, we're going to get pushed back down beneath the VWAP again. Come on. PRFX, bam. Hey, we came down to 275 support, and now we're making new highs. 359 is the high right now.
GXAI right back down here to VWAP. This has got to hold. Otherwise, I'd be nervous about this. Looks like it's trying again here on GXAI. Maybe it'll be stronger this time around. You tell me.
We need more volume.
We'll be quick. Wait for a bigger pullback, says Smoke Tuna. Okay, we'll see if we get a move towards 180 here on this, but maybe we'll get another pullback on this. GXAI.
And PRFX did put it in a new high, new session high, took out the pre-market high as well.
Oh, yeah, PRFX. Nice.
Just had to be a little bit patient with that one, but yes, folks, if you caught that one, well done. GXAI still kind of just making an indecisive candle. VCIG not having a great time with VWAP. That has suppressed the upside price action. It is now heading beneath the lows following the impulse move in the pre-market. Looks like it's down at about an area of support. May still end up going to the 65 EMA, but it just touched $1. And if we lose $1, then it's probably going to get even uglier. So it's got to hold $1.
PGen here spiked out of the open. Oscar moved higher out of the open. JP says, nice call. DraftKings recovering. So the thing here about this, there was very little like specifics here other than, yeah, this headline that's kind of sinking DraftKings. I don't know if that has any long-term, I don't know if that's a long-term worry for DraftKings. So basically we were just trying to play a corrective move here. Frankly, I was out 70 cents ago, right? So I missed a large part of this move here, but this is still recovering. I'd still watch this DraftKings a little bit. That was a good open trade there though. Nice little easy one, frankly. What's up, 13? What do you got?
No, I was just watching GXAI. It started to push up again. I was just like, let's see if we get some expanding volume here. It looks like we're starting to take out some of these levels, pushing into the 80s. It might get a break here of the 185 if the volume expands.
Here it comes.
Yep. And so if we do get a break of 185, it probably takes us to about 195. That's where the next concentration is. But we need to see more volume expansion. Here we go.
There it is. There it is. Great. Tuna. Okay, out there on GXAI, just on that break. Tuna, really good call there earlier on GXAI. We'll see if this sets up again.
It's still not finished yet. It just tapped. I think it was 195 or just shy of 195, the area I was just mentioning, because I'm looking at the ladder. It's telling me where these folks are hanging out at. It looks like 199 and $2 has the next large amount of concentration. So if we get through that, I mean, this might go to 220 if it pushes through too. Like real fast through 220. We'll see if that happens.
Zach's asking, Ryan, when you do a quick trade with options, by the way, the day trades that I've been doing more now have been with stock just because it's a little bit easier. I feel like that's just a personal feeling. But to answer your question, when you do a day trade with options, what time horizon do you use in terms of the option expiration date? This is a really good question. I am in the habit of using at a minimum next week's expiry. My thought here is that if I'm looking for something specific and maybe I don't get it right at the time I'm looking for that trade, I may get it, a day later or 2 days later, or there's a little bit of a delayed reaction. And if I take the nearest contract for the cheapest price, I have to be right. Otherwise, that thing is likely going to zero. When I give myself a little bit more time, I pay a little bit more in premium, but I often give myself a little bit more cushion unless the move is just too dramatic. So generally speaking, I'm at the shortest expiry. I'm always looking for next week's. Boy, GXAI continues to go through 2 here. Great call, 13, on this not being done. I'm out early, still made money on it. But great call there, 13. Really good stuff, dude.
Thank you, Smoke Tuna as well. And folks also mentioning PRFX is now halted to the downside. Thank you, chat.
PRFX.
Yeah,
that's pain reform. Okay.
Oh, I swear. I mean,
I can't even.
Home Depot is less than $10 away from my target. That's going to be insane if it goes to 420. All right, so GXAI 210 is the high now, pulling back off that, losing $2 in the process. We're going to want to see some support from 185. Otherwise, it's probably going to be time to look elsewhere. VCIG starting to go lower too. Not a lot of good movement here in these names today. So far, it's really just been mostly PRFX and GXAI. We did get a nice quick move out of LASE, but that came right back in, and now we're kind of hanging out at pretty much the starting point. All right. And
okay.
Looks like the CIG is getting some support from the 65 EMA.
Tuna, I love this. I love when you're thinking about risk here. GXAI, do not hold it or you will be holding a bag. That means if you get your move, don't be afraid to take gains. I admit I took them a little too soon here, but frankly, Tuna, I'd rather have smaller gains than you than a big bag.
And
I think everyone would probably rather be in that situation too. Good mention here.
And don't chase, or you will also be holding it back.
Well, he also already said, wait till this gets to a support level. Do not chase this. So really good stuff there. Really good stuff there out the gate here. I'll tell you what, these mornings have been pretty awesome. Even if the rest of the day ends up being boring, if we get a good morning, that can really kind of make it. Then you can just kind of sit around with your feet up.
Look at Home Depot. Felicia, if you're out there, I expect to hear you today in happy hour. If we get to 420, that'd be crazy. And yes, for some reason it is a popular number, Crispy Biscuit.
For some reason, I just can't figure out why at all that's a popular number. I don't get it.
I don't know. It must be a generational thing.
Oh, that's funny. Really good stuff here from the chat. We're glad all of you are here today, by the way. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Exploiting the algorithm helps us make an even better community.
Looks like LASE is trying to recover.
Hey, look at this. Sorry, I totally interrupted you.
It's okay, go ahead.
I literally read as you were talking. I'm sorry, 13. Hats off to Crow. We'll give you a shout out and a register ring. They're working on a 3-bagger on Celsius. Tell you what, I've commented on this a number of times. This was an extremely good call from our group, and it's not in one of the crappier movers. This was Crow. I think you were talking about this in a 30 handle. Now we're in a 60 handle. So that's a double up on the equity. Really good move here. Hopefully some of you folks hit sell H.
I feel like we're about to get an unhalt here in PRFX. I haven't been paying attention to when it was halted and when it wasn't. Do you have a time on that? It looks like it's going to unhalt and go lower.
Which one? PRFX? Yeah, this was halted at 9:41:33, so we have a 5-minute halt expiring soon.
Yeah, and it's a matter of seconds, it sounds like.
Yeah, really quickly here, Pretty Panda, this is another good comment here, despite the profanity. I never regret early sells on these shitty one-day movers. Throw away the calculator so you don't check in hindsight. I'm with you on that. Here's PRFX. It is open.
Yep. Oh, I'm glad I said something. I was like, this might not.
Yeah, no, that was good. This actually looks like it might tease lower. Jay, sorry, didn't mean to sell him short there. Crow's call was in the 20s, not the 30s. I apologize.
Crow also mentioned natural gas going to all-time lows. He's trading cold for that movement.
I'm seeing Ondis call buys. These are January 2027 call buys, 750 on Ondis. That is the first time I've seen a elite buy on the stock, at least an unusual one. I beg your pardon. Let me take a look at this real quick. Sorry, 13, for the dead air in advance.
Oh, that's okay. I'm just going to cycle around and see what's happening. PRFX is trying to recover, but it's having a hard time with this recovery. GXAI, hey, Smoke Tuna nailed it. he said, "Don't hold this because you will be a bag holder, and this is why." This thing gave back the entire green candle that it made. It's still recovering from the low off of that, but still beneath the VWAP. So be careful there with GXAI. I think we should wait for another setup in that before we try to jump into anything.
Real quick here on Ondus, those January 27 calls that I'm highlighting, or that I was just highlighting there, those were actually bought as part of a spread. So I'm just trying to figure this out. This is the first time I've seen that, so I just want to see what's going on there. There is 1,137 contracts opened today on an expiry that had 0 open interest. So there are some absolute upside bets here on ONDS. Looks like they're paying $150 for those calls.
LIDR still heading lower, getting very close to those to the highs from yesterday, where it was finding resistance. I think we could see some support kick in there. It's going to happen at about 260. 260 and change, it looks like. Somewhere between 260 and 265, you're going to find support, I think, in LIDR.
I'll tell you what, look at this round trip on this entire move, 13.
Yeah. Yep.
And producers saying, okay, chat, own up. Who's buying onto sleeps? I have not filled any. I will let you know if I do fill any. By the way, GXAI, which we talked about, looks like this came back into VWAP. Yeah. Sure did. Trying to bounce here.
Yeah. While you were looking at ONDS, I was, was telling Smoke Tuna, I was a great call about not holding, because this is what happens. Now we've just recaptured VWAP. It's going to try and go back up to 2, see what happens up there. No position. I'm not even sure I want to take a position in anything right now. I'm not sure if I like the current market breadth.
Really quickly, just in honor of Anne Marie, advanced to decliners positive 813 right now. This is actually straight up out of the open. So the advanced decline line doing pretty good here. Tick, nothing on the tick chart that's as of note. And the SPY here, God, it is down 1/10. It is basically unchanged from the open.
I'm just kind of, giggling in my head about Home Depot right now. It's still grinding up. This is just funny to me. And if it backs off after hitting 420, I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. Wish I took it maybe. Roblox Perv's not buying today. Uh-oh. Let's see. Is Roblox down? Good. Yes, it needs to be. Looking for a loss of that 50-day SMA. I think that's the only support that's keeping it up at this time. We can look at for new levels thereafter, but for now, it's the 50-day SMA. Look at GXAI. Of course, it got more legs. It's certainly setting up to get ready to move higher. It does look like that. As long as we can hold above this VWAP and the 285 level, it's looking not bad. I agree. Could make another move up over $2. So we'll see if we end up getting that. PRFX is also trying to recover, but it just ran into VWAP and it's having a little bit of a tough time with that. LIDR hitting a low of 266, so just outside the area I was looking for some support. Might start to form a base here, so we'll see what we end up getting with that. BCIG still trying to hold that $1 level, and I'm not sure it will.
XPEV, this came into 20, held it, and is trying to bounce. We'll see if that continues. Nomad's asking about Costco. What's going on with Costco? Here's a look. Costco, this is just straight up out of the open. It's only up by 0.5%, though. This is just normal action. I don't see any news here, Nomad. I don't think anything's going on here. This is nearly $1,000 stock moving $4.50. That's nothing. That's not even 0.5%.
All right.
PayPal calls. Come to Papa. Still long that PayPal position. That is going to be really quickly. That is the September 77 calls. Would love to see PayPal really break into a 70 handle here and continue. Oh, buddy, that's not going to work today. He's looking at the door and he's looking at me and he's trying to be all sad, and I'm not going to let him out. He wants to go into the hallway and just terrorize the neighbors. We're not going to let him do that.
With PayPal, that $71 area looks like it could be some tough resistance.
Yeah. So 71. So, okay. I don't really see it on this 5 minute. I still think 70 is going to be one of those key levels to get through. Your $71 level, however.
71, 72. I think I
Yeah.
mentioned 72 before. I still like
Yeah.
that area.
Yeah. And this 71 to 72, this was actually a top from March before it really fell to the lows prior to that Liberation Day stuff.
Looks like GXAI is trying to hit that $2 area again, but it's going to need more volume to get through all these sellers.
Producer says, I'll give that cat 2 minutes before he scratches at the door. He doesn't like to scratch. He likes to yell. Sorry, which one? 13? I know
move down LASE. It just lost support.
You're trying to actually stick to business here, and I'm distracting everybody. So,
talking about your cat. Yeah, so just kind of watching the GXAI, see if we can make that move through too. PRFX, this had a big move up to the VWAP again. Let's see if it can hold above it. LASE, but yeah, that one came down to the don't blow me up, but it's coming down around near 420. The current low is 426. Then GXAI still having trouble with that $2 area. VCIG trying to push through VWAP here. It's about to test it again. So it's defended $1 pretty well, but just like a lot of these names, we need to see more volume in these to take out the sellers.
Seeing more Intel calls get bought here. These are the $26 calls. That looks to just be an at the money trade there. That's probably a quick one. Expiry on that. The expiry on that the end of this week. So that's a quick trade here. More Tesla calls getting bought as that spikes to the high as well on Tesla. Is he scalping Ondas out here? I love it.
Nice. Hope everybody's having a good morning.
So far, so good, man. I mean,
you sound like you're having a
well. I'm 2 for 2. There's smaller scalps, but the what I really like about it is that the plan was followed. Right, the call on GXAI was about as crispy as it gets, and the plan was followed there on the idiot drop on DraftKings. Those are the 2 trades that I have booked already here today. In nothing as far as the day trade right now, but even the swing's doing pretty good today on this nice move off that little pull down to 4. And Apple continuing its move higher. Remember, 233, a key level for Apple to get over. The 215 breakout sent it to that 233 level, and we've kind of stopped there. So I'd be curious to see if Apple can get above that. Tesla continuing to roll higher here. Remember, Charlie said 350. We talked to Charlie about Tesla here this morning. He said 350 out of the open. Charlie's probably having a good day here as well.
Hey, B-Hall, glad to hear. Glad to hear you having a great morning.
Yeah, B Hall accounts at all-time highs. Those are some real good mornings.
Oh yeah. GB Slice is mentioning BLSH. That's bullish. That's like that new one that we get asked about pretty frequently right now. Still not sure what to make of that one.
I think you've got IPO volatility here, and this is still carving out a low. Frankly, I don't think we know what the low is here on BLSH. Curious if anyone has levels on it. Nature Lion is saying, do you guys even read this chat? Are you kidding me? Are you even seriously asking me that question? All we do is look at the chat. We have probably the show that interacts with chat more than any other show here. BBAI, not really a whole lot going on here. Down 1.7%. This is down to the level that it was trading at before it took off on Friday. But I don't think there's anything necessarily going on here, so to speak, with BBAI. I got no fresh news on this. Volume looks meh.
Yeah, for me, this has a problem with $6. That's a resistance area now. And if you look at a daily chart, you can see why $6 looks like a rough spot. GXAI is pushing too again. It's also been trying to recapture the 50-day SMA, and it's not had success with that. So I think this the $6 area and the 50-day SMA, keeping it suppressed for now. Looks like it's going to head lower to me.
Okay.
And GXAI still trying to hit that, go through $2 there. There's so many sellers. It just needs a lot more volume to get through them all. So be careful with GXAI.
More Tesla repeat calls here. These are the 340, 345s. These all look like upside bets. More on that. Actually, there is one put in there as well. 337.5. Tesla continuing to push that 340 level. I think we get that here.
And LIDR still, trying to form a base here. I don't want to say this is on the recovery yet. I just want to see some more, footing established here. But it did come down to that area where it looked like it was going to get support. So we'll see if this continues to go sideways. GXAI, we might get the break of 2 here. It certainly looks like it's trying to really push up in there. It doesn't seem to have the volume though.
GXAI, this almost feels like it's a little bit heavy up here, to be quite honest with you. See if that 2 is giving it some more resistance.
Look at your price ladder. I'm sure when you see like just how much concentration there is at 2 and up, it's just like, this doesn't look like it's going to have a very good time going higher unless
here we go. They're hitting it.
Yeah, they really need to get a big expansion of volume here because they keep pushing it down.
So I'll tell you what, I actually watched that. That was a good heads up call there, 13. They actually printed right at that $2 level. It looked like it got refilled. So I almost wonder if there's an iceberg order there at 2. We've gone through it once here today, but they clearly refilled it with a ton of stock there. 2 still a key level here unless we can clear it out.
Yeah, we really need to see expanding volume in this to take those sellers out. They just reloaded some at 195, and they're probably going to try to walk this down. Just be careful with GXAI.
Pan W still coming in. I'd watch this trend line down here, 181 about on that.
BCIG just kind of going sideways, still defending $1.
The other thing here on Palo Alto, remember, this did not quite get to the expected move from the option. So I almost wonder if option buyers for the print yesterday are going to be holding bags here today.
Hey, line folks in the chat, why don't you just form a group called the Pride, HG up again after brief hiccup. I mean, it's wild that it's still grinding higher. I mean, if it hits that 420 level today, it'll be a really big move up for a single day for this stock. They've done it before, but it doesn't happen often. GXAI is tired. Wait, it does seem like it doesn't have what it. Okay, there we go. Now there's the big drop beneath VWAP. Okay, so it didn't look like it was going to have the volume to get through 2, and I kept cautioning that, but it might not be done.
And Smoke Tuna here saying that it's tired. Please wait. Also, remember, we said on this one, this is one of those, just take your gains. If you don't hit the top, don't worry about it. Just don't carry the bag.
Yeah, and it looks like LASE is a little bit of trouble here. Trying to put in some bottoming action, but there's also a chance it could lose this 420 area. PRFX, meanwhile, is still trying to have another close. Actually, it's trying to get its potentially first close above VWAP today. Here we go. It's starting to move. Got to take out this seller at 320. Just did. Pushing up to 330. Man, this thing is starting to get going here, folks. Let's see if we can get some more volume expansion.
Yeah, PRFX. This actually looks a little bit better than GXAI at the moment. I want to see some of these top wicks turn into actual full body candles on a move up towards that 350 area, but we'll see.
Yeah, you can see that they're clearly defending this 330 to 340 area. But if they can, if we can get enough volume to take this out, I think that you're right. We will be looking at some higher prints with some better looking candles.
Okay, Apple stopped again there, 232.5. So that 233 level is still going to be key for Apple. You guys are mentioning UMAC. Izzy, I know you were talking about drones earlier. Was there something going on there that we missed here? Here's UMAC. This is actually still up by 4% here. Let's take a look at MOB.
How much we traded today?
This also up 5. Okay, so it looks like it looks like some of these drone names are moving. How's Arcat doing? That thing was getting pounded yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, it got hit in the after hours. This actually dipped out of the open here, but held that after hour low. Actually, Arcat finished okay yesterday.
Pretty Panda's got a question I think that you might be better at answering.
Let's see here. Pretty Panda, you guys got some ideas on the cannabis sector. I'm thinking we get the dip this week because after that, we're moving very close to the announcement from Trumpy. So my first thought here was MSOS. Like I had said, some of the folks that I know, I was hearing rumblings that there was going to be some talk here about cannabis rescheduling. Entry here on MSOS was 350. We talked about that on the show. This thing ended up going to what, 5 and change, 520-ish? Yeah, 520-ish here, I think, at the high on MSOS. So this trade has kind of already worked. If you're looking for individual names, I too took a starter here on CGC. All right, so I'm basically nibbling on this. I've only bought 200 shares. I'd like to get this up to several thousand shares for the full position, but I'm going to go at this pretty slow. We saw with that MSOS move, we saw CGC really kind of move up here, starting to come back in a little bit. So I'm going to be looking to add if this is able to come back in and maybe hold this $1.15 area. CGC, I think this is one of the companies that can turn it around, but please understand this is high risk and I'm doing this quite slowly.
There's I didn't notice this yesterday, but apparently Marijuana Herald had an article that shows up here for MSOS, and it's titled "Congressional Staffers Predict Cannabis Rescheduling, VA Access This Year, Safer Banking Act This Session." Do you remember when we was talking about what Trump was saying about we'll know in a few weeks? Well, he was talking about when all of Congress gets back from their summer recess. That happens at the very beginning of September when they return. So looking at Safer Banking Act this session, that's the biggest hurdle, in my opinion, for this. Yes, rescheduling is important. VA access, that seems like that's a cherry on top, but the Safer Banking Act, that's what I think needs to happen more than anything else.
Seeing a huge move here on the market, everything to the highs. SPY, really cool. Last thing here, MSOS, pretty a safer way to play it is it's just an ETF instead of an individual name. Look at the SPY. Power candle here on volume. Dow looks the same. NASDAQ has the same type of candle, although NASDAQ was down a little bit further here. I don't know necessarily what's going on this.
Are there any
Feds Bowman says debanking is a problem in the financial system. I don't think that's causing this move.
Any truths?
I don't have Truth Social, so I don't see those until they make their way to X. The producer has been on top of it. Producers already. We didn't even need to ask him. There's no truths.
All right.
Okay. First thing I checked. That's producer. See, you've learned.
Well, now Izzy's saying Trump tweet, so
But, yeah, I think
if you have it, post a link if you could, Izzy. I appreciate it.
I don't know if chat members can post links.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. DJT post. Stock screener only shows HD in the green. All right.
Yeah, Jay bringing up a good point with Home Depot and the Dow and that move higher here. That's weighing on the Dow. But I tell you what, there are some power candles here across the board. Oh, man. I'm so glad I feel better here today. Let's take a look at Palantir, too. We did have a Citron tweet on that. $40 price target yesterday. Palantir down another 5.5%.
Just kind of looking at Home Depot, see if they mentioned anything, if there's any headline about lumber. They're saying they don't see broad-based price increases. They say the customer is very healthy. Let me see if I can look further into this, if there's anything about that material. There you go. That's not bad. 3 things you need to check in this market: Trump's Truth Profile, X, and Benzinga Pro.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I'd have to spend a little more time, and I don't want to make some dead air. So I'll look into this Home Depot ER, see what they mentioned there.
I tell you what, I know one of the things that we've been talking about on Happy Hour recently is that some of these short ETFs for some of these bigger high flyer names are likely to get some action here because traders that have just insane cost basis don't necessarily want the tax obligation from selling it, and rather they would hedge their position with some of these ETFs. PLTZ, your 2x short Palantir ETF, nice move here today, 11%. I did not, Perry. I did not trade Home Depot for the print here. Actually, I've done pretty well on Home Depot, but my last 2 trades on it were not great. I did not play it for the print here. Curious to know if you think there's a trade post earnings on ticker HD Home Depot.
Pretty Panda, yes, that's when Congress returns from their summer recess. So that's what I'm aligning with his comment about, a few weeks that he had mentioned. Because he did give a bit of a broad timeline, and that broad timeline includes when Congress people return from their summer recess. So thinking that September, it's going to probably be something that we hear a lot about as far as marijuana goes, or at least start to hear about it. GXAI, you're loading, about ready to see this thing move some more there, Smoke Tuna?
So the housing starts for July were revised higher. It was moved from 4.6 to 5.9.
Consolidation in the building sector creating demand for scale. That's something that Felicia touched on, didn't she?
Sorry, I was reading there. What was that?
HGCEO says consolidation in the building sector creating demand for scale.
Yeah, she has talked about. She said that the builders, just because they have so many options, that they're to control interest rates and cut deals and all of that, they're going to be ones that outperform.
Yeah. Okay, looks like GXAI is still trying to push that 190. It's trying to push 190 right now. It's on its way up to $2. But need to see this volume expansion. Not seeing it as of yet, but I guess it could happen pretty quick with this name.
VKTX, we haven't got the up move yet. It looks like that's still hunting for a support level. PayPal here, which we mentioned earlier. PayPal here, yes, we did take 70, 71 next. Let's see if we can do that. Love for this PayPal to work. I actually did add to this when it came in a little bit, so I lowered my cost basis on those contracts. Those are just as a reminder, those are September 77.5 on PayPal. That's kind of a risky trade at this point with this being $6 away from that, but nonetheless.
Hey, you know what? Probably, Joseph. That's probably what they're all in their recess doing. It's just, checking to see what strand they like the best. I bet Jerome Powell can't wait to, get out of the Fed and go to his Grateful Dead concerts. And,
I'll tell you what, if I was ever at a concert and I saw Powell, I would definitely try to talk to him. I would definitely, even if he was baked, even better, frankly, I would definitely try to talk to him at a concert. He probably wouldn't want that, but.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. All right, well, here we go. Taking 190 in GXAI. Are we going to get going here with this stock? Starting to move up some more. Looking for $2. A lot of sellers in the way, so need to see some more volume expansion.
So, okay, it looks like Tesla stopped at about 340 there. We had 350 to 360 as the resistance area, but Tesla taking a break here. Rocket is back on. Big Bear Hug, you were asking about Rocket. Maybe we did actually get that move back up when we got those housing start data and the revision higher, excuse me.
I would think that it's very likely. Also, came down and got support from the $18 area. We did, print lower yesterday. We did close beneath it yesterday, but now we've opened above it. And I think you're right. It really did. All the housing data we got, I think, turned this around. But we also faced 3 red days, and now we're probably going to face 3 green days. So we'll see if we end up getting that. And if we do, I'm pretty sure we're going to see some more resistance at 19 as we did before.
Okay. Perry says, is this a Powell hate channel or a love fest? I don't think we take a position either way. We'll trade whatever he's doing. We do make jokes here left and right, though. That's something that you can bank on. Oh, yeah. There we go. Powell, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that, producer.
At public figures' expense, we do make jokes.
Here, this was 13 special here. This is Powell with the deer in headlights, we call this.
It's just a little bit of humor because I thought he's in a pretty tough place. So kind of stuck with making a decision. It seemed like he's in a deer in the headlights. So thought it'd be funny. Anyway.
I think it is funny. It looks like the chat does too.
Okay, good.
Perry, just wait till we Just wait till you start seeing some comments about Kramer. You're going to be real confused. Okay. You think it's confusing with Powell? Just wait till we start talking about Kramer on this channel. You're not going to know what's going on.
All right. So, hey, whatever happened with BBAI? Because I know we were asked about that earlier. Did that end up doing anything? Looks like it just ended up going lower.
So it pulled a VSIG?
Sure.
Yeah. The answer is yes. It just kept going lower. It looks very similar to VSIG here. Not a whole lot, not much of anything, going on here with BBAI.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it happens today, but this looks like it's going to have a date with 5, probably lower.
LASE, maybe put that bottom in here. We're around 410-ish. LASE, yeah. I've got the VWAP there, 461, currently at 430 or 440.
Yeah, it looks like about 410, 412 is where we found support in this one. Recapturing the 65 EMA as we speak. Might run into some resistance at about 450, 455.
Topher here saying it's a committee, kids. So you know what I'm going to say. I am not a committee because we're going to quote Leia from Star Wars there, of course. Thank you, Topher. It was an easy one.
Uber up again, says Izzy. And Ryan is mentioning TTD. He has it as a buy right now from ARK Investment. What's TTD looking like today?
TTD giving back some of the gains that it had yesterday. This is actually a pretty good move yesterday. Yeah, Jay, I saw this. Jay here mentioning that Chamath has a new SPAC here. Social media is killing him. I saw an article on that talking about how a lot of the SPACs end up going down. Good mention there on MP, though.
Yeah, he did do MP. He did a whole bunch of other ones, too. I think it'd be great to look through the list that he had around the same time as MP. I think that was with either 2020 or 2021, right? Just all the different SPACs that he was doing. Some worked out pretty well. I'm pretty sure most of them didn't, though.
Tess saying that Tesla's at 340 here. Tess, what's the move here on Tesla? You think we got more juice from here, or are we regression back to the mean?
Trade Desk looks like it's trying to recover, but I'm a little skeptical of a recovery here in TTD. It might, come back up to 60, maybe go slightly higher to 60, but I don't think we're going to be on the road to recovery or even completely fill this gap up to 88. I don't think that we're quite turned around yet. It still has the potential to go lower, in my opinion. LASE. That's on the doorstep there of the area I was just mentioning.
Okay.
PRFX, this is coming back in again. Gosh, this has been mostly just kind of sideways, but I don't think I'd want to be involved with this one anymore. GXAI, this still might make its next push. It's trading above the VWAP still. What do you think, Smoke Tuna? Do you think we're going to get our move here?
GXAI got to break out of this formation here on the 5. I'd like to see some more volume on this. I'd feel a lot better about a break higher here. Remember, we still have that resistance at 2 that we're going to deal with if we get above there. I just saw size flash on 194 there.
Yeah, I have a very slow day. Got to check one thing before it gets mentioned. No, we only have one 100% runner. PRFX.
I love it. DraftKings. Okay, so this basically got back to even here. So this tells me that the market participants here, they weren't necessarily buying up that rumor or the predictive markets, sports prediction markets on Hood. Doesn't look like it's affecting DraftKings. DraftKings is struggling to move higher here. Hood, by the way, which announced that news here, looks like this pulled a little bit. Actually, looks like if this can't get back above VWAP, maybe this rolls over, retests some of the lows down there.
And a little correction here. PRFX is not 100% runner as of right now. It's on the doorstep of being 100%.
It's flirting with that. GXAI, we'll see if this can get back to 194. I'm watching it right here. Still size there, and it's being hidden.
Yeah, it's trying to push through it.
Yep, they actually printed right there. Here we go. More prints at 194. Couldn't clear it. They're chipping away at it again. There goes 194. 2 up now. GXAI. There's 2.
It's a VCI. I just don't like the way that a lot of these are looking. They might be better later on, but the volume is just not great. And it's going to get even worse pretty soon here because we're approaching 10:30.
There goes GXAI.
Great call, GXAI. Looks like we're going to hit that 210.
Yep. I was just going to say 210, your intraday print there. There's more size there. They're hitting it. It's real. See if they clear it. GXAI.
Looks like they are about to clear it. They're trying to hit it. No, they just reloaded at 10 or at 210.
I almost wonder if they back test 2 and it comes right back onto 210. I think that's your signal it's going through. Didn't quite get back down to 2, although it got close right there on that pullback. 201, I think, is the low print that I saw.
Still more than a minute left in this candle. We could still see that movement. They keep concentrating their sales up at their sell orders up at 210. Meanwhile,
starting to get that volume to flow in here with all of this back and forth. We'll see if 210 can fall. Here we go. We're coming. There it is. So it did 213 on that first pop through. 215 the high print.
Yep.
There we go. More new highs. 217 now. Great call there on GXAI. Not in it for that second move, but we already hit this once today.
You got an upward trend line that it's about to hit, so it could be somewhere between 220, 225 where it finds resistance. Nice. We got some folks that made some change. Well done. All right. See if we'll finish up with that, getting up to so 217 was the high there on that move.
Yep.
Still think it might touch that 220. So we're new candle now. Still thinking it might touch somewhere between 220 to 25.
UWMC, this actually moving to the highs here. This performing better than Rocket here today.
Oh yeah. Well, nice to see that make its way back towards 6. We've recaptured, and we're still holding the 200-day SMA. I like it. $6 is going to probably be a pretty stiff resistance area, though.
Izzy, Uber, I know you mentioned this earlier on that initial impulse move. Uber, I'm seeing some calls here, too. These look like 96 calls for September. Actually, this is a weekly contract. 17 days till expiry on that. This actually approaching a trend line right now. We are about to test this. Key level here for Uber.
ECIG under $1. Unfortunate.
Kind of expected, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's why I didn't touch it. So far, I mean, today, I think the ones that we covered are pretty much the best ones. Like the first 3, LASE, PRFX, and GXAI. Those all seem to be, the ones that have provided the best trades today. Looks like GXAI is still having a tough time getting above 217. Might need a little bit more time before it reaches 220.
Uber, is he saying that Uber will hit 100, but we don't know when? Smoke Tuna saying that GXAI will continue from here. So Smoke Tuna, so let me ask you, for those that maybe are done with their first trade right now, what's next for like a load zone on this? You don't want to. I'm assuming that you don't want to chase this movement higher here. Do you want to pull back to VWAP? I've got VWAP at 179. I almost feel like that would erase this entire impulse move. Let me know what you think a possible reload zone here is on GXAI.
Maybe under two or less, probably.
Okay.
Kind of guessing here based on the price action we've got, because 2 was a resistance area this morning, and we've now started closing above it with that last candle we got 5 minutes ago. So 2 is looking like a support area at this stage. So I'm curious to see what Tuna says, but that's the way I'd be looking at it. Now that we're above 2 and kind of closing above it, I'm be looking at that area as support. 2 or below, perfect. There we go. All right.
Okay. 2 or below. I've got that 9 EMA at 192 there. The digital dyno asking about AMD. Why is AMD down $6? Is it saving Intel, Ryan? So here's a look at AMD. AMD is down 3.5% here. I don't think there was any news on this. This has been on a huge run recently. So maybe the thought here with more focus, being shown to Intel.
GXAI, there it is, 220. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Awesome stuff. GXAI, probably the best one today. AMD, this has been on a great run. So, we've seen it cool off from time to time only to go higher. But this is a little bit different because if we close beneath the 20-day SMA, then we've done it before only to go higher the next day. But we'll have to see if we continue to get closed underneath the 20, because if we do, then we're in a bit of a break of a trend and we could be coming back in. I do have support down around 162. So I expect that if we are going to come back in some more, that we'll see support kick in there. But for now, I'm not too worried about AMD. I have a good position in this, and this has been a great stock. I'm not planning on selling yet. I think this still has more room to go over time, and I'm going to be holding this for a good while. So if it does come back in, I'll just look to add more. Well done, Jane. Excellent stuff. Saving Private Ryan was a great movie from the archives. I don't know where that conversation came up, but I do not disagree. Saving Private
because
Ryan
he was asking his question. I kind of thought about that too. Saving Intel Ryan as opposed to saving Private Ryan. It's funny that back in the day in high school when I used to be into like rap battles and freestyling and stuff, I actually made my AOL Instant Messenger handle Private Ryman. Close to Private Ryan. Private Ryman, the whole thing. Yeah, it wasn't my best work, but it is what it is.
Chat, producer, I think we've got something here, folks.
Well, we don't have anything here, dude.
What on
earth are you talking about?
Oh, we've got some Ryan raps and trades.
No, Ryan doesn't rap. Look, I learned my lesson. Okay, I learned my lesson. I thought it was cool. I had a rhyming thesaurus that I was trying to teach myself. I'm not a rapper. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Oh man, the information you disclose sometimes.
I mean, I don't. Look,
I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy.
If that embarrassment is still following me around, then so be it.
Oh, see, look! Oh, see, you're gonna get a lot of requests. You're gonna get so many requests.
Look, you guys had to know me in high school. I lost a lot of those rap battles, to be quite honest with you. So it is what it is.
Producer, please make "Squeeze Me Home" a rap song. Look at this move in GXAI.
He's going to AI right now to do that.
230 in GXAI now. Great call. Right up to our trend line too that we drew. Oh man, GXAI. So nice move there, hitting 230, coming back in. This probably ends up making a break over this trend line if it continues to hammer it. All right. Yes, absolutely, Chef. We saw GXAI. It's doing great.
Okay. PayPal, after that move higher, it's holding. Netflix, by the way, back down beneath 1,200. Does anyone like Netflix under 1,200? Are we thinking Netflix here for a move into the back half of the year? You'll have to let me know.
So not a great day today. What happened with what kind of news did they have?
I don't think I saw any news here on Netflix. They're down almost 4%. Let me see. Let me see what we got. Says cautious. Okay, so JP Morgan, but that I think was from yesterday. Yeah, I don't think there's anything new here. I almost think that this is a break.
Let's see here. Well, we are coming down to the 20-day SMA. That has been, support. I mean, just look at the past. Let's look at the entire year so far. Lots of interaction with that 20-day SMA as both support and resistance. Now we're coming down to it as support. So we'll see if it provides that. If it doesn't, then the next area of support that I see is going to be down around 148 to 150.
Izzy here. Thank you for the tweet. Someone just bought 1.4 million worth of Uber 96 calls. Those expire on September 5th. So appreciate you flagging that. You can throw that in the chat if you had it there.
All right, I need to look for some new levels here in GXAI because we're blowing past them. 238 now, the high. We're printing prices not seen since January. Looks like 250. 250 to 260 is going to be a bit of a resistance area. That's next. Probably more 260, to be honest. So that's what I see next. Home Depot blowing my mind. You and me both, man. I mean, I mentioned where this could go. I'm kind of surprised we even got as high as we did in this one. Going to what was this high here? 114.36, or is that the highest? Yeah, 114.36, the highest we got in Home Depot this morning. Getting a little bit of pullback now, but this could continue to go higher. Looking for that 420 print.
GXAI, good move there. Thank you for GXAI, John. No problem. That was it looks like that's tuna. The whole chat was on GXAI there. Really good stuff. Remember, just going back to what Tuna said earlier, don't be afraid to sell this, right? I know sometimes, especially you take a smaller position, you hope stock really just kind of moons and goes crazy. Don't be afraid to sell this one if you got gains on it. Just don't hold a bag.
Oh, yeah. Really good moves here in GXAI today. Congratulations, everybody that was trading this one. All right, BSIG now making new lows. Giving back almost everything. Looks like LASE is still trying to be on the recovery here. Still think that 450 area is going to be trouble for it. I can see there's some sellers in the way as well. Maybe if we get enough volume expansion, it goes through that. But until then, not confident it will. PRFX, this one looks like it's trying to hold above 240. That's going to be the last area of support before the 65 EMA down at 214. GXAI to 4. Maybe. BTC to 113K, MSTR to 340. I haven't looked at strategy today. Let's see here. So not great that it is losing its 200-day SMA. Now, it has provided support in the past, so maybe we do get one close down here today, and then tomorrow it's right back up here. So we'll see if we end up getting that, because the 200-day SMA has a pretty long history of supporting the price and letting it go higher. You can look at that going, back to 2023, maybe even longer. Most recent support came earlier this year when we had the April Liberation Day. Also a bit of a downtrend line here too. All right, so yeah, for me, it's going to be what happens with that 200-day SMA. Are we going to start closing beneath it, or are we going to recapture it tomorrow? That's what I'd be looking for. Also, looks like 360 is a pretty interesting support area as well that we just lost.
Plymouth REIT, PLYM. I don't know this one. I can't remember if this is one of the REITs that we've talked about before. This is a nice move here, though. To acquire all outstanding shares for $24.10. This is a buyout here, PLYM. Did this pay a dividend? I wonder if this was in Tim Melvin's portfolio somewhere. Yeah, this thing paid us almost a 6% div. Wow.
Crocodile, I think that's We Love Smoked Tuna. I'm pretty sure it is, but that was really good. Wolf Dumping. That's Wolf with a U. Well, I guess that's that's fine if it is. It had a nice past few trading days, getting up and over 930, which was a area of resistance that I had been mentioning. Now we're trading beneath it, looking for support that probably will come down. Support looks like it's going to happen around 8, maybe a little bit less in Wolf. So if we start coming in
Wolf.
more, so if we start coming in some more, I think $8 is going to be the next support area I'd be watching for.
This just feels like it's on the backside of the move. GXAI right now. I'm not in this. Just saw it move here right up to those highs. 243 is your high print there. It looks like we almost tested that. I think it got to 241.
Big seller in the way at 238. So if it takes this seller out, it could really move up fast to 250, maybe even higher. That's a big amount of sellers to get through. So if we get like an outsized order that takes that out, it could take out a lot of other orders in the way as well. Probably the biggest concentration of orders we've seen so far, and it just got taken down. Where'd it go?
I don't see. Well, I have the price coming back in here, but I don't see anything on the ladder that's kind of standing out. At least not yet. 243 still that high print.
It was there just a second ago. They may have taken it down to walk the price down. There it is. It just came back to 234. See it now?
No, it flashed on there again. I only get 234. Okay. I see some there, but it doesn't look big, so it almost looks hidden on my end. We'll see what happens when the price actually hits it. Vic saying, is it just me that thinks Ryan should be doing his analysis in rap form? Yes, as a matter of fact, it is just you that thinks that. Nobody else wants that. Trust me.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it once.
No, all right. Not going to happen.
He said,
"Love you guys."
No. All right. Okay, so that's that 234 seller, pushing this back down. He's trying to walk this thing down. Eventually, he's going to run out of shares if they keep getting bought up, though. There we go. Make another attempt at trying to take that seller out. What do we think? Smoke Tuna is mentioning SNAL. JPM on a downgrade spree into Davos. What's really going on? I don't know.
Financials have been doing pretty good. Remember, we covered how that's one of the sectors that's outperforming.
Yeah.
Wonder what they think about that on that downgrade there.
So Jim, I'm looking at my price ladder here, and I'm getting some level 2 data that's showing me where these orders are. It doesn't look like that guy that was at 234 was there right now, and if he is, he's broken his orders up and placed them in different spots. The largest concentration of sellers I see right now are at 230 and 235, so he could be part of that. Yo, we making dough. Hey, look, you know what? Crocodile Dumb Me wants to rap battle you, dude.
Okay, well, that's gonna have to go somewhere else.
It's
My
never
rap battling days were over multiple decades ago.
It's never not going to be funny. Sorry. LASC still on the recovery. Looking for that. Looking for 250 still. I think that's still going to be a tough area for it. See the sellers in the way there at 250 and 255. GXAI getting pushed down even more.
Yeah, GXAI pull. Now let me ask you, that 189 VWAP buyable there on GXAI.
I don't know. I mean, it might be. This is about where the support was for. I'm sorry, where the resistance was earlier this morning, and it's now support. So maybe we'll see if it rebounds off this.
I've got 189 in my broker and 188 in TradingView, right at the same spot there.
And they're trying to push back above 210, but they got some sellers trying to keep keep any upside progress from happening.
Some more talk about VKTX, which is now down 44%. So no up move here. Jeremy saying new data that showed the side effects of a much hyped experimental obesity pill from the biotech Viking Therapeutics may be much worse than anticipated. Two things to remember here. The pill form of these GLP-1s or these weight loss drugs do not give the results that the injection does. A lot of people don't like injecting things. I get it. That's fine. But if you couple that with bad side effects, I personally, like, I've read about some of the side effects from some of these fat drugs. They're terrible. And I actually think, this is just my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, I think a lot of those are being suppressed because I think they know weight loss is something that people are after. And if you start talking about leaky gut and blindness, maybe that drives some people away. This to me is really bad news. You try to move to oral form, you're going to get worse results and now increased side effects. No bueno here. The stock is getting murdered today, down almost 45%.
Yes, Eminem was born in Detroit. That's not how it's spelled.
Hershey's would like a word. Did anyone trade IINN today? I know this is kind of one of those cheaper little movers. This didn't really do much anything. Probably not.
No, I didn't trade it.
Best Buy. What is this? Did this have?
Oh, look at that.
Best Buy. What a move here. This actually has earnings in 9 days before the market opens. What's it moving on today? Best Buy launches digital marketplace, more than doubling the number of products available online.
Okay, cool. So they're kind of turning into a little bit more of an Amazon.
Yeah, and new categories, brands, licensed sports merchandise, and expanded tech offerings. What's in this digital market? Has anyone checked out this digital marketplace?
LASE, that area I was mentioning that had a lot of sellers in the way, pushing this thing right back down. Couldn't get through the 550, 555 area. Well, it did a little bit, but it came right back in. So getting hammered here. I saw some of you mentioning Microsoft. This thing is now potentially looking at its second close beneath the 20-day SMA. At least I think that's the second. Hold on a second. Second close beneath the 20-day SMA. A lot of these tech names have gone on a really good run, and we were just looking at AMD. So this isn't too concerning to me that a lot of these names are coming back in after a big move. The thing about Microsoft is that their revenue from their AI cloud services is growing very, very quickly, and it's up year over year. So lots of good things I think still ahead for Microsoft, but a lot of these names should be cooling off here and coming back in. As far as support areas, we do have the 50-day SMA on Microsoft, and beneath that, the $500 level, and then 475 beneath that. You're looking at BBY still?
No, I was just actually kind of reading through the chat, and I was looking at the Twitter streets to see if there was anything new there. Best Buy is still up from our last discussion here. I haven't changed it. GXAI did not quite make it to the VWAP. I'm kind of waiting that out here to see if it holds. Looks like it might be trying to curl, but this is kind of in no man's land right here. Yeah, no, Brandon, I think you have a similar level 2 that I do. So I use the active trader tab in Benzinga Pro. I use the active trader tab in Thinkorswim, and it shows like 3 cells right where the price is at, and then the 2 above it. It gives me a full reading, but it doesn't show them statically. Like the price has to adjust for me to see those numbers. So often when 13 is looking way out there, I don't see them. It looks like a blank cell. But when the price moves there, I then see the numbers. I suppose it's less. I guess I don't need that as much. I determine levels from the chart, and then whatever's stacking up on the bid or the ask, I look at it in real time. It doesn't really hurt me. I guess maybe I'm saying that without knowing what 13 setup looks like. I don't know.
It does help me determine whether or not I want to be in this or and take a shot. There's if I see something that's like not it's going to be in combination with other things like order book and price and sales, but or time and sales, but it's just another tool to help give me an idea of where we could potentially see a big move occur. Because if you have a large concentration of sell orders at a particular level and the volume is expanding, it's more times than not, you see this big multi level move through that where those sellers are, and it goes even higher because somebody decided they were going to take out that concentration of sellers, and it ended up eating some of the other higher priced shares as well. So it's just something that I use for when we could potentially get a breakout. If the volume's not expanding to the size that we have there, I'm like, I don't really have as much confidence in this. But if it's looking like it's going to get completely chewed up, I do. So that's the way I use it. BDY, by the way, 77, I think is going to be your resistance area.
Okay.
That's where the 200-day SMA is.
Okay. Jay saying that the transports are ripping. Those are some of the value names. Let's actually check the market overview and see if we can determine what's going on here.
So that would be UPS, FDX, maybe JB Hunt as well. FDX up, UPS up. JB, is it HT? Yes. That's up pretty good too, almost 5%. Looks like 154 might be a resistance area for JB Hunt.
So the sectors that are really looking good today: financials, healthcare, consumer staples. So Jay, to your point there, Tesla, big pull, Amazon reversing, Bitcoin at the lows, Apple's pulling back.
GXAI still getting support at VWAP.
Boeing, your one of your more red names in the industrials. Interesting rotation here.
Loss of the 20-day SMA today in Boeing as well. You do have the 50-day SMA down at 220 and 39 cents. Don't know if we'll hit that today, but that's going to be the one of the next areas of support if we lose 225. Yeah, Zach, I think that's correct. Seasonality, probably a lot of names coming in as a result of that. We have a choppy month here in August.
Yeah.
And we have even more downside that we can look forward to in September.
And we said that this should be a red name or a red candle here today, right?
For
the pattern. Yeah, for the pattern to remain intact, we want that candle to be red. Well, so far here, we're getting it. That initial pop, that little like power candle, that is completely reversed. We are at the lows now across the board.
It's almost like we're trading computers. Against computers, I mean.
Yeah. No, you're right. NASDAQ down 1% here.
Now we have seen the previous all-time high of in SPY of 642.85 provide support for the past 4 trading days. Today we're beneath it again, but let's see if we can recapture it before the end of the day. Otherwise, we may be seeing a change in trend here. We still have some other support levels to get through, but that was one of the ones that needed to hold up, was that previous all-time high of 642.85. Looks like GXAI is still.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to break and go back down to that VWAP. I'm curious to see what it does down there.
GXAI?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have it getting support from VWAP right now. HIMS is slumping. Billy is saying Intel. What would PB? I'll look at Intel. I'm not sure what you're asking, but I'll look at Intel.
Is Palantir still getting hit?
Pullback. Gotcha. Pullback. Sorry, I figured it out. 26 has been a tough level for Intel. Ever since we came down here last August, this is not 26 has been an area that has had just a tough time with holding. Not more than really 2 days have closed above it. 2 days back in November of last year, and then 1 day in February this year. No closes above it since then. $26 Intel, tough spot. We'll see if we can close it up today.
Nice job, Bharat. Okay, so Bharat, I got lucky with this Palantir swing short, but I'm flipping to long here. Okay. The market is down here basically at the pre-market lows. I've got the pre-market lows here, 642. We are at 642.21. So we are so far trying to hold on to the pre-market lows that we made this morning. Maybe this is a possible reversal spot for Palantir if it catches there. Good stuff, though. In fact, get a cash register ring on the move down there. So 162, it looks like you think is the reversal spot here for Palantir. It's what it looks like on a daily chart.
I was just about to ask you, Smoke Tuna, what do you think of GXAI right now? It's we still have some time left in this candle, but it's looking a little look, it's having a hard time holding the VWAP. I have VWAP at $2. What do you have it at?
189.
Okay.
And actually, it looks like I have a test of that level. What did this candle go to? Low of this candle, 191. We were within 2 cents of testing that. Zach, floor on Ondas today. I don't know. I might be looking at the, what is this? The 21. Let's see. Your 8 EMA is at 370. I'm just letting that one go, though. I've done enough selling when Ondas was higher here. We're okay on that one. We can let that out. I'm more curious to what's going on with the market here. 642 looks like we're battling that spot right there.
Yeah, I was just looking at that one too, Smoke Tuna, NVFY. Looking at a daily chart, it did run up to this 238, 240 area where there's a lot of concentration of sideways price action that occurred from July and August, this part of this month. That seems like it's going to have a little bit of a difficult time getting through it. So we might see a slowdown in the upside until we get to probably about 285. That'd be my guess.
UNH question here is can it break below 300? Absolutely. I think if it does, it probably tests that gap that the Buffett buy made, to be quite honest with you. GXAI looks like it did test that 190 VWAP. It's trying to bounce a little bit here. 10-cent bounce so far, but I wouldn't chase that bounce.
Yeah, it's got 20 seconds left in this candle, and then I think we see what it's really going to end up doing next. It certainly looked like it's trying to hold, above the VWAP right now. And this looks like it's trying to recapture too, but I think the next candle is going to tell us what's happening next.
NVFY's got volume going.
All right, well there it is at that 240 area. It's got to chew. It's going to have to chew through this area, which could be a little bit of a like I was just mentioning, it's a little bit of a thick concentration. But if it can get up to 285 and through that, it should have less resistance.
Oh, man, PayPal got murked. So we were having a good move there in PayPal. That is completely obliterated. Does look like the market is trying to test lower here.
All right, GXAI still trying to recover. Here we go. And Roblox still holding above the 50, but it's not recapturing some of these other key levels it needs to in order for it to grind higher. I think that we're just it might start going lower tomorrow. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So we'll see if we end up losing the 50-day SMA tomorrow. But now that we have, we're facing 3 closes underneath the 20-day SMA. That's usually a signal of more downside ahead.
Yeah. Yep. All right, folks, we've got Anne-Marie coming up in 9 minutes and then Paul Meeks after that.
Do you think she'll have something to look at for Roblox? Because
we can ask. You want me to ask about Roblox?
Sure. See what she thinks about Roblox, and if we've got anything we can trade there option-wise, especially if we think there's more downside coming. Any big news we're missing? No, I think a lot of that happened yesterday. Let me look and see what we are going to end up getting today. What's this? Oh. Thank you, producer. That made me laugh. All right, so let's see here. So I don't know what other leaders or anything Trump's going to be meeting today. It seems like, there's this idea that we might be getting an end to that Ukraine-Russia war.
Yeah, but I think the call with Putin, I think he's talking about meeting with him, Trump, and Zelensky, and I think they want to do that someplace in Europe. So I don't think that happens today.
No, it's not.
Yeah, Crow, that video on the pizza poutine. I mean, I don't know why you had to send that to me at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, all I'm doing is thinking about pizza poutine right now. You'll have to take a picture if you go out and get it. Let me know how it is.
There we go. Producer given the incentive. Looks like VCIG is trying to come back from the dead. Still beneath $1 though. PRFX, it's kind of going sideways. GXAI is trying to push its way further into the 2 handle, running into some trouble at 207. Large seller there. If we start taking him out, we might see 220 really fast. But doesn't look like the volume's there quite yet. LIDAR, looks like that finally found some support down around 256. Still has a lot of road to recover, but it's up off the low. So I guess there's that. I'm not interested in trading any of these right now. We're past that 1030 point where volume really starts to leave. So my confidence in some of these things making these big moves that I'd be looking and hoping for aren't going to happen. Or if they do happen, they're going to be very quick, and I don't want to lose my hat.
Okay, I don't see any great setups here at all. We will ask Anne-Marie about some of those stocks that you folks want some option trades on. Market continuing to pull here. It does look like maybe it stopped temporarily down here, 642 on the SPY. But a lot of these charts look like pulls are coming here.
Yeah, let me see if I can get an idea of, because the next area that I think that we're going to see support in the SPY is probably going to be, just beneath 640. But let me look and see if there's another spot in here we might get support before then. Let's see, maybe 641 and 40 cents, maybe there. I think that's what I would probably lean on. Probably 641, almost 641 and a half, but I'd say 641 and 40 is probably where you're going to see the next area of support.
Okay.
If we lose that, then I think that 640 is going to be your spot.
Okay. Well, market's trying to bounce here. We'll see. All right, 13. Before we send this over to Anne-Marie, I'm gonna step away for just one more sec. Be right back.
Sounds good. What are we all looking at now, folks? The over-owned names getting whacked. Mag 7. Yeah, it's about time that those started coming in a little bit. It is about that time. I haven't looked at NVIDIA today. That's down almost 2%. Ooh, that's not a great drop. Probably one of the steepest drops they've had since Friday last week. So not too many days between that and what we're seeing today. But let me take a look at a longer time frame and see where we. Okay, so this is getting a little bit of support from the 20-day SMA. This looks like it's one of the last of these stocks that's been on a big run since April to still be holding up its 20-day SMA. Let's cycle through some of these other Mag 7s and see what we got here. So we did trade beneath the 20-day SMA in Meta last month, but it's created a floating island since then. We are testing that as support now. TSLA, I'm pretty sure Tesla's beneath it. No, it's above it, but it's been oscillating above and beneath it, so I wouldn't count that one. What are some other ones we can look at? AMZN, did that break down? So it did go underneath there. It's back above it. I'm looking for stocks that have been that have been riding up their 20-day SMA since April and have not lost it yet. Microsoft just started losing theirs. So I think that's one of the latest ones. And unless NVIDIA starts closing beneath theirs, I think they might be the last one. And they have earnings coming up in 8 days.
Okay.
NVIDIA Besant says U.S. stake in Intel crucial for security. That's probably true, considering that a lot of their U.S. government systems are x86 based. So I think that makes sense. Well, hey, take care, Kevin. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Kev. I'm actually going to refresh Pro here real quick again.
I didn't get through all of that that 3.5 hour long report that Gamers Nexus put out, but they really did some pretty deep undercover work about the black market supply chain, and it kind of opened up or kind of revealed some things about what's going on as far as what companies are trying to get different GPUs and AI chips, and are the export controls having their effect? And interestingly, they are having their effect in the sense that it's preventing hyperscaling and large scale AI data clusters from being created, but it's not necessarily preventing small scale ones from going forward. It just takes a lot of time, and they're illegally transporting these things like one person at a time. But as they said in the video, we have a lot of Chinese. So there's a lot of people over there that are just like one by one taking these GPUs. So if you have 10,000 different Chinese bringing over one GPU, well, that's 10,000 GPUs. So that's how they're running the numbers. GXAI still recovering here. We're back up above 2, looking for 220.
Market going lower here. I'll tell you what, that little bounce, that thing was temporary, new lows here. And it's not just the market, it's some other names as well. Tesla right back down to the lows. PayPal smacked. Even smaller names like Ondas re-smacked here. Definitely seems to be some trepidation out there.
Yeah, I see that you had.
All right.
Looks like Corby is still going to have a date with 80. And if it can't hold there, then I think you're going to see 65.
All right. Any closing words here for the group, 13?
Well, folks, tomorrow will be another day, and hopefully it'll be a day where it's not so sluggish. I felt like today was a little bit sluggish. Things weren't really moving as well as they did, but we still managed to nab some gains in GXAI and RFX and a couple of others. So glad we did that. Glad to have been spending the morning here with y'all. Enjoy Anne-Marie. She's going to give us some great trades as options. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, really good stuff there, 13. You're right. We basically had some action right around the open, but that was about it. Now, though, let's go ahead and put together some more options trades. Let's ask the queen of the option trades, Anne-Marie. How you doing? Happy Tuesday. Uh-oh, can you hear me, Anne-Marie? Uh-oh. Can you talk? Can you say anything? Yeah, muted. All right, we'll go ahead and try to get Anne-Marie's camera and mic fixed there. In the meantime, I'll try and cover some things here. See what's going on. See what else we have. Someone asked about Hive and Hut earlier, I think. Have to let me know. All right. Emery's going to rejoin. We'll be going over there in a sec. VSIG. Boy, I'm glad we gave a warning here on VSIG. This thing hasn't done anything. Market continuing to pull, by the way. More lows here. 640 now. Definitely seems like something is going on out there. And I don't know that we've seen any news here. Sorry, folks. Trying to figure out what's going on with our guest here. All right, Anne-Marie, we'll try it again. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Try it again. She can hear me. All right. You there, Anne-Marie? Man, I cannot hear you at all. I got no sound at all. All right, I'm going to leave her on and see if we can get that fixed. We shall go ahead and see here. GXAI, this is actually starting to go here. This did break out a little bit. Uh-oh, we lost Anne-Marie again. All right. Yeah, 13. I think we'll see if we can get him back on until we can figure this out. We'll try Anne-Marie one more time. Let's see. Nope. No sound. Is anyone else getting it? It's not just me, right? Yeah, I don't see any volume. Anne-Marie, check your end. Yeah, nothing here. No, okay, yeah, Barat, you can't hear. Okay, so it's not just me. All right, sorry about that. All right, 13, welcome back. See, I can hear you fine. Yeah, it's got to be something on her end there. Got to be something on her end here with that.
Yeah, first thing that comes to mind is just double check and make sure that the mic that you've selected for Restream is the one that's supposed to be receiving the audio.
Okay, thank you, producer. You're working with Anne-Marie in the background. Perfect.
All right, so hello, everybody. Back for a little bit while we get that audio issue resolved. Looks like GXAI is trying to push up away from VWAP after giving it a little bit of a test. But we are coming up to some resistance here around 215. Now, I do see a larger concentration of resistance at 220, and that's been a bit of an area this morning. So we'll see if volume can take us up there. Now, we are past that time where volume does leave the market. So not expecting super intense things out of these moves from this morning. We'll see if we can find something to trade. NVFY, man, that's ugly. NVFY. I know you guys were talking about this earlier, but I was pointing out how that area, from looking at the daily chart, there's a lot of concentration of sideways action in sellers at about that 240 to 250 area, or I think that's the range I mentioned, and we got a big reversal there. Sellers want out of this name. LASE is still hanging beneath 420. Looks like this may end up trading lower too. Not everyone is a computer person. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And not everybody's an options person either, which is why I'm not talking to them. I'm going to have to educate myself or listen to Anne-Marie a little bit more in order to get better skills.
GXAI still hanging out here at the same area. I think 215 is the spot.
Yeah, I'm still looking at 220 as the big resistance area, but 215 certainly has got some sellers in the way. All right, I'm going to look at some other stuff here. So CoreWeave, that's still trending lower.
Take care of yourself, Sassy.
Take care, Sassy. And take care of your rooster too.
Peter.
It's Peter? Yeah, that's right, Peter.
I believe her rooster's name is Peter.
Oh, gotta keep my mouth shut. All right. What else are we looking at here? MSTR, Poots for to win.
All right, let's check here with let's check here with Anne-Marie. Test. Nope, still no audio. Okay, we'll have you figure that out with Aaron here.
All right, so looking at MSTR, and wow,
oh man, market is still.
Yeah, not sure exactly what is causing.
I'm like thinking there's news, and I like keep looking and keep not finding anything.
Well, we have come down in MSTR to some of one of the support areas I was looking at. Down around 240, we're 240, 245. Still think that we could, let's see, this may end up going down to 320, but there's we're down in an area where there's like a lot of demand. So I'm thinking that between here and 320, there may be some support that kicks in. Just don't know exactly which level. Maybe maybe about 330, but we'll see. I think between here and 320, we're going to see some support in MSTR. I don't want to say no, Joseph, because I think you're right. There can be, but usually when you have some kind of big move across the whole market, it's something that's pulling it down. It's hard for me to think, oh, the whole market just woke up and decided that we're selling off today.
Yeah, no, I think Jay's got it right here. It's just rotation. And I mean, if we take a look at the actual market itself, I mean, like, I know we're looking at like a down move, intraday, but here's what it looks like on the daily chart. It just gives you an idea of where we came from here. This is nothing really crazy at all, frankly.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out why, right? I'm trying to look for the underlying reason and see if there's anything we can do off of that. I don't see it out there, though. I think Jay might be right here with just this rotation.
Yeah, and it's probably just like you're going to see a lot of rotation out of the names that have gone on these crazy runs. So it's not surprising that Palantir would be down, because that's been taken on, and here, oh, look at this. We're losing the 20-day SMA today in this one. We have traded beneath it before back in June, but we didn't spend too long down there, no more than 4 or 5 trading days before we recaptured and went higher. Excuse me. So I think I would just be watching to see what happens with these names that are losing their 20-day SMA for the first time in months. Palantir is one of them. NVIDIA could potentially be another. Microsoft's already doing it. I think we're going to start seeing some downside as Jay put it, rotating out of these names.
Well, is anyone swinging these to the downside, like Palantir, Microsoft, any of those names? That would be interesting. I'm curious if anyone has a trade plan for that.
Well, how long is rotation going to last, and when does it end? Because I wouldn't want to be short when it ends, because who knows, they're going to just start bidding these things back up again. But we are entering that seasonality where there's a much more a likelihood of downside than upside. This actually, look, Palantir actually filling the gap, to be honest. They filled that gap. So I guess another thing you could probably look at with Palantir is now that the gap's filled, has been filled, do we reverse and climb back over the 20-day SMA? I don't know, but that gap certainly was filled. Okay, then I misunderstood you, Joseph. So if a natural correction is part of what rotation is, then that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the rotation is strong enough, that could actually turn into a correction.
Yeah, it certainly was the case back in 2021. I remember when we had all that wild SPAC action, and it just drove up all of the a whole bunch of names in the IWM, and then we had some real devastating rotation into value.
What's IWM look like? You're actually reminding me right now. IWM's still up here. We're just kind of going sideways here.
So Danielle, rotation is like, it's a phenomenon where you get a lot of people that are a lot of traders are in these names that have really gone on a big run. They're sitting on massive gains. They'll take a profit on those and get out of some of those positions, a little bit or all of it, and then move it into some other sector that has been really hammered down or has not done as nearly as well. So we have B. Hall saying that food is up today, like Pepsi and Coke and Hershey's, and those names haven't been on a big massive run like tech has. They're on the recovery. See, look at how far away they've come down, and now they're starting to recover. So,
and Jay, just to kind of add to what you're saying here, 13. Remember, Jay said it was the value names that were in play here today. Yeah. Those stocks that these all have kind of low PEs, especially by comparison.
Yeah, so it's just a movement out of the high flyers into some of these names that have yet to go. It's just rotating out from one sector into another. And yes, defensive staples are pretty good right now. They've been hit hard, and they're on the recovery. And B, this is where a lot of investors go when there's market uncertainty. They're safer places to park money. Webcoin mentioning PRFX.
Let me go back to my main workspace. We could take a look at that.
It certainly looks like it's curling. We're back to testing the VWAP again. We have not had a lot of success with this one getting above and holding above VWAP, but let's see what happens here. It looks like this there may be a little bit more of an ability to hold above VWAP here if it can break over it. Let's see what we get. Need to see better volume though. You see a little bit better volume, but it does look.
Here we go. VWAP test coming right now.
Yep.
They took it. Let's see if it moves here, if it just pulls off this spot.
A larger concentration of sellers up at 3 as well. All day BD is killing it on Palantir with the puts.
Come on, PRFX. Let's see if we can go through this here. No position for me on this one. We'll see if we can pop here. I'm not inclined to trust this, especially given the other action that we had when we moved through the VWAP. Very, very short-lived. Kind of had to take those gains quickly. And Jay's right. Bitcoin is not helping at all.
Yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin going lower is taking all the risk on out of the market. Well, I think Lockheed Martin had earnings recently that pulled it down, but it's been on the recovery, and it's some of these other defense names that are getting a lot more attention, like the drone names. I think those are more in favor right now. Now they all may be selling too, but
all right, let's try it one more time with Anne-Marie Band here. Anne-Marie, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Right.
Yes, there it is. All right. All right, 13. Thank you.
I take my leave. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, 13.
All right, Anne-Marie.
I don't have any idea what happened.
That's okay.
All right, let's hop
we got it. Little bit late, but that's okay. Better late than never. You want to share your screen? We can go through maybe one or two of these.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have got something cooking here, right? All of our tech names down except for Palo Alto, which is security. And
they reported
Intel,
good earnings
course,
last night and a raised guidance. So
yeah. And then of course we can see all the flight to safety in our areas over here. So yeah, what do you want to chat?
okay, well, we did have a couple of suggestions earlier. I guess we'll just start with those. First one here was Roblox. Roblox making a lot of news recently about streamers leaving the platform because it's really kind of turned into a child predator breeding ground. I hate to even say that, but the thought here is that, there might be a huge move here in Roblox coming. So RBLX.
Wow, that's awful.
It's really, really terrible. There's no question about it.
Okay, so off the initial space, they are trying to buy the dip. It's sitting in a range between 113 and 135, which is the low of this earnings candlestick. Notice that earnings candlestick, they broke down and they have yet to recover inside of that zone. So as long as we don't stay, as long as we stay below that, there's going to be more downside pressure, and we could easily come back to test the 100s. And so the question might be, if we take a look at that and expect some kind of flushing action, we could have a couple of pretty nice trades to the downside there if we take a look at maybe a September space. We'll build both sides, right? Let's see if we can build both sides. If we go 100 to 90. Oopsie. $100 to 90 to then 80, 70 bucks for, $1,000 move. Now, if you're thinking, hey, they're going to recover, a two-sided trade might not be a bad idea. So the top end of that would be 125, and then that 135 would be the middle strike. So if we went 125 to 135, I put 3 of those in there, to 145, hang on, that's not going to be the right price. You open up some risk if you do that, but that's not a bad trade, actually, because I don't think it's going to head back to that 135, but we'll see. So if you decided to take both sides of that butterfly, you'd get, you'd be spending about 200 of risk and, 800 of upside. So it's got legs potentially in either direction, but it does look like this move, the failure, post earnings, and then the failure to recapture the low of the post earnings candle that initially opened on the high and then gave everything back, now coming into a key support floor. To me, this smacks a little bearish.
Yeah. I was just thinking when you were outlining the trades on the last screen, I was literally just thinking to myself, boy, oh boy, that put buy looks great. I mean, 60 cents. To me, I think this thing could fall quite a bit. I know you're outlining 90 as the body on that put. I think this could actually go lower than that, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Well, the next line in the sand of heavy resistance / new support is all the way down at 75. So you could end up rolling this pretty well. Now, I don't know how much institutional ownership this thing has, but if it's got a fair bit of institutional ownership and it tries to bounce off of that 100, I suspect that would end up being exit liquidity.
I have 74.1% institutional ownership on Roblox.
Yeah. So, I think they'll try to wiggle at 100. And if they bounce into 105 and then lose it again, it could absolutely move to the south. If you're in a betting kind of mood here for this one to really continue a tumble, you could take that. You could take that 95 and just, buy it outright. Right now, that's not my favorite way to trade.
Yeah.
I always want somebody to give me some money. So I could do the 95.80 put spread, and that's 62 cents, and that's $1,500 of potential updraft. And
so very similar entry price there. Just a little bit more profit on that spread.
Yep.
Joe here saying Roblox sure ain't showing signs of going too much lower since this ugly news broke. And while that's true, I almost wonder what's next, right? What's around the corner? What's that other shoe to drop, Joe? And I think that this trade is positioning us for that.
Yep, for sure. So here's what happens, and it's just exactly like what that trader just said. What they'll try to do is hold that floor. And we can see over here, last support zone right around $113.90 or so. And now they're trying to get up above this key range. But this zone here at 120 it's a really big price point. And the problem is, look what happened with earnings. It's response to earnings that tells us what future price action might look like. And they have yet to recover that low. So everything under there suggests to me that a potential additional downside pressure is going to show up.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there on Roblox. Multiple trades actually on that setup. So that'll work. Anne-Marie, there's a suggestion out there for Walmart. We also had Home Depot today. So maybe for a post-earnings trade on Home Depot, I would let you pick at this point. Which one of those do you want to do?
All right, let's look at Home Depot. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these don't look that great in terms of strength of motion. The largest volume candlestick here is, we're sitting right at this zone, rejecting the high end of that candlestick. So once again, the future for what, Home Depot said, hey, listen, we're not passing on any of these price hikes, but they did front run the buying before the tariffs got put in place. But they did say, hey, listen, we're going to potentially have to turn some of those price hikes over to the consumer. I think it's very range bound, right? And so my thought here would be, yes, it's bullish. If you're thinking about what could Home Depot do, it's almost better to go really far out into the distance to say, I'm pretty sure it'll recover from that 400 area. Maybe I can get myself a cheap long way into, say, December, when everybody normally has their Santa Claus rallies. They don't have a December contract up, so you might look at November and then say, all right, let's see what an at the money butterfly might give us if we could do 410 to these are expensive, 420 to 430. That's $1. Not too bad. And then what you can do as prices rise, you can sort of, here's how you would triage something like that. Let's say it blew all the way over 420. You would have the $1,000 here. So if it blew past 420 in, say, the beginning of November, you could buy back that spread at 420, 430, and you could sell the 430, 440. And it would only cost you maybe $1. And so now you'd end up having $2,000 of profit as the price action continues up, but you're only going to be spending $100 more to get yourself in that space. So triage when you're butterfly, the trick to trading the butterfly is really understanding what to do during a triage event if you are directionally biased. And that's going to be buying back the short edge and then selling the call spread further out. So as price action moves, you're collecting that revenue stream. And so we might revisit this one if we pick it out. And yeah, there's so much you can do with a butterfly. I can't even tell you. And then you could always do a short put spread to mitigate some of that future cost, right? It might use a little bit of margin, but you're going to be able to really get yourself into, a pretty nice space. And if you think it's going to absolutely run off the rails, you could simply do this butterfly at 420 to 430. It's about maybe 15% less expensive, but the probabilities might end up being in your favor if the price action really starts to run.
Look at that open interest for that 420 call in November.
Wow.
Yeah, it just really stands
Yeah.
out there. I don't
It
I
sure
don't know what it
does.
means, but it
Yeah,
it stands out
it
there.
does stand out there. It does. They've been accumulating there for sure.
Okay,
Could be shorts.
we've got 3 minutes before we go over to Paul Meeks here. Anything else? I know we're kind of truncated on time here. Anything else that you want to cover, or maybe something that you noticed about the market move here today? Or
So this move is pretty interesting. Feels very tech based, right? Very could be something as key as very chip based, but we want to see if it holds the floor and recovers. Tomorrow is going to be very it's going to be very, very important, I think, to see if we get some follow through. We
Mhm.
also had, close to $1 billion of Bitcoin liquidate over the weekend.
Yep.
So there's continued rotation there while the primary players are still trying to hold us. We've got a little bit of a sea change going, but here's the thing. Everything here shows mixed market.
Yep.
Some things getting hit more than others. And it's only when you see a sea of green or a sea of red that you know that there's some sort of aggressive move in the space. Plus, the ES and the NQ fading and the YM seems to be, certainly not doing that.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag. I would say trade small and live to trade another day.
Yeah, that's kind of what we are thinking here too. It definitely feels like rotation. We had this discussion here today about rotation. It definitely feels like that. And tech has been on a huge run, so maybe this is just a breather. Maybe this is just like a garden variety correction.
We need it.
Yeah,
We need
and you know what else we need? Some distribution into other stocks out of these tech names. I mean, that would just be so good for everybody. You want to talk about our option segment? We have a much bigger universe of stocks to trade if we end up getting that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Absolutely.
Anne-Marie, we did it. We battled again. Going to be available on Friday. I will not be here. I'm in the second leg. You will though. You will. Okay, really good stuff here today, Anne-Marie. Thanks so much. We'll check in with you next time.
See you soon. All right. Bye.
All right, that is Anne-Marie. We are going to go over, I'm going to send you over here to Paul Meeks for Tech Tune-Up. That's what we're doing next here. You don't need to do anything. I will take care of it for you. Folks, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused, and we'll see you tomorrow.